Hey guys and welcome to the channel. Today I will be doing a what if, which is what if Deku became a demon slayer part 4. I did not make this what if fan fiction. The author of this amazing fan fiction is Lorenzo J10, so please support their work. Chapter 21, One's Power. The class of 1B was stunned at what they just heard. Not only did one of their classmates just accuse another, the classmate in question had just agreed to fight 3 of them without using his powers. Until Monama started laughing. Does that moron really think he can fight without his quirk? That's what you got out of that, said Awaze. Did you miss the part about him doing drugs? That can't be true, said Kanoko. Can it? I've heard the rumors about him, said Pony, but they did say he cheated a lot. But those were rumors. No way, said Jirota. UA would never allow some criminal into UA. Right, Mr. Torino. Gran Torino stayed silent as he watched the screen. Maybe the reason he's here is because UA is watching him, said Hibiki, now getting interested in her classmate. Maybe we're waiting for him to slip up. Gran Torino gave her a side look. 1, that's none of your business, and 2, shut up, I'm trying to watch. Well, said Jack. You're serious, you want to fight us without a quirk, said Kendo. Jack's response was a simple grin. All right then. As she charged as Jack without enlarging her fist. Jack deflected her first punch but caught her second fist with ease. That's when Kendo realized she underestimated him. Jack twisted her arm and judo threw her back across the room. Kendo, said Tessitisa, charged at Jack, who at the last moment made a flying kick to Tessitisa's face enough to stop him, and before he could do anything else, Jack grabbed him and used him as a shield as a giant coin rolled at them, that not only rolled over Tessitisu but took him with it. Jack quickly backstepped as a giant fist came at him. As Kendo's fist almost grazed him, he could feel the air pressure it created. As her other fist came at him, he reached out and redirected the fist. That caught her by surprise, as only a few people have been able to do so. Jack's next move caught everyone by surprise as he wrapped his arms around Kendo's waist and lifted her over his head and performed a German suplex. German suplex, thought Yui. That's a wrestling move, not martial arts. Kendo, I'm coming, yelled Tessitisu as he charged again at Jack. This time he tried to punch Jack, but every time he tried, Jack would dodge. Tessitisu knew a bit of hand-to-hand combat, but that paled in comparison to what Jack knew. Soon Jack began to counter each of his blows. Soon Tessitisa's steel was slowly cracking. He's cracking my steel with boxing. How? His hands should be bleeding by now. Tessitisu was getting angry now. With a roar, he tried to hammer both of his fists into Jack's skull but was easily caught by Jack. The next idea he had was to headbutt him, but Jack kicked Tessitisu in the throat, causing him to back away. Not bad, but you need to learn how to throw your weight around, said Jack before his sense told him something was coming. With a quick backstep, dodged a giant metal nut roll past him. He looked to see Yui enlarging some metal nuts. Jack then began to run at Yui in turn. She then started to throw the nuts at Jack. He bobbed and weaved through the nuts and caught 2 of them in mid-air and threw them back. Yui quickly had to run out of the way. That's when Kendo made her move and was able to hit Jack with her big fist. Before Jack was able to make a counter, Tessitisa came from behind and grabbed Jack. Now Kendo, don't hold back. Okay, she said as she came at them with a massive right hook, but Jack wasn't going to let that happen. With a perfectly placed kick, Jack was able to deflect her fist and try to counter with another kick. Kendo was able to block the kick, but Jack used her fist as a springboard to break free and backflip behind Tessitisu. Tessitisa tried to backhand Jack, but he caught, and using the momentum, grabbed and spun with him before throwing him at Kendo. She was able to catch her teammate before Jack kicked her in the face. Jack looked at the 2 who were down before quickly scanning the room. Ibara the bomb. This broke Ibara out of her trace of watching the fight. As she turned towards the bomb, she saw Yui going for the bomb. "No you don't," as Ibara shot vines from her hair, catching Yui's leg as she was mere centimeters from touching the bomb. Yui tried to shrink to get away, but Ibara was still able to catch her foot, and shrinking made her light enough for Ibara to pull and throw Yui back across the room. Yui flew through the room for a moment before being caught by Jack. Jack quickly turns to see Tessitisa charging at them. At the sight of Yui, Tessitisa slowed down to not hurt her while Yui ducked, and Jack used this to kick Tessitisu. He then saw Kendo getting ready for another bout. Jack was more than willing to accept, though when he tried to push Yui out of the way, she grabbed his arm, trying to keep a hold on him. Yui grabbed a paperclip and enlarged it to attack, but Jack didn't want that to happen and tried to pull his arm away. "Let go." When he did, Yui pulled one of his arm rings off. "She took one of my rings," as alarms went off in his head. Yui then quickly threw the giant paperclip at Jack, who instinctively went to knock it away. Though he did it with the limb with one less ring. Everyone felt the force created by the paperclip being launched across the room through the wall, making a massive hole in the wall. Everyone was stunned at the sight of the supposed quirkless kid being able to blast a giant paperclip through the wall. "What the hell," said Tessitisu, "he could have pounded us the second the match started." Yui looked at the ring in her hand. He was holding back. Kendo was lost for words. "But how?" Jack sighed as he looked at the black spots on the back of his hand. "I didn't want to use this just yet." Jack slowly walked towards Yui, remembering his master's words. People who can't accept their own weakness will make up excuses for their loss or lack of power. They will lie not only to themselves but to others to cover for such weakness. This turns weakness into foolishness, and it spreads like a virus to those who are naive enough to believe it. Jack knelt down to Yui and held his hand out for the arm ring. Yui gave him the band and he quickly put it back on. Then holds his hand out for Yui. Sometimes you need to open your mind to the possibilities of something more than you were told. As he helped Yui up. "Time up, brats," said Gran Torino before anyone could say anything else. "Come on, come back, it's time to wrap things up." "Why," asked Kendo, "if you had a quirk, then why didn't you say anything, or why did you allow rumors to spread or leave your dojo?" Jack stopped in his tracks. "Because I didn't have one at the time," he thought. "Actions speak louder than words. Like the hole in the wall or me graduating UA." The second day of UA has ended and all the students are heading home for the day. "Hey Bakugo, wait up," said Izuku, using the breath of lightning to catch up. "What the hell do you want, Deku?" yelled Bakugo. Izuku stood in front of Bakugo for a moment. "Do you wanna fight?" "Huh?" Bakugo was surprised. For a while now he has thought of nothing but a chance to fight him, but Izuku suddenly asking out of the blue gave him pause. "Why? Why are you asking?" Izuku was silent for a moment, not sure how to answer. "Unless you say something, I'm leaving." Bakugo moved past Izuku. "You're holding yourself back," that stopped him. "You didn't think I wouldn't notice your support equipment or the fact that you add weights to your costume." Bakugo turned and looked Izuku straight in the eye. "How is any of that your problem? Because you want to fight me. You're holding yourself back so you can throw everything at me, and I don't want that. I don't want to be the reason you're going to fall. B-dash." Explosion. Bakugo caused an explosion right in front of Izuku, causing some burns on his uniform, but Izuku didn't even flinch. "Let me make this clear. If you think for a second I'm not going to be at the top of the class because of you, then clearly that sensei of yours must have shoved that stick a few inches too high up your ass. I will go all out when I want, and when we fight I will show you and everyone else why I'm going to be the next #1 hero. Understand, I will leave both you and All Might in the dirt. So fuck off, Deku." Bakugo then stormed off. That did not go well, sighed Izuku. Well, what did you expect? As Ye and a few others walked up to Izuku. I say let the idiot do what he wants. If he screws up, then he screws up. Is it just me or is he moving kind of sluggish? Noticed Melissa. It must be all those weights he's wearing, said Kirishima. Weights, what are you talking about? Asked Mina. Back in the locker rooms we saw that Bakugo was wearing a lot of weights under his clothes, said Kirishima. Not gonna lie, it was kind of manly. Ha, knew it, said Ye. That idiot's going to break himself like that. Wait, he was wearing weights? Asked Ochako. He was holding back. Yep, he probably thinks that old-fashioned weight training is going to help him, but it will most likely work against him, explained Ye. I hate to tell you this, Ochako, but Bakugo was going back, said Melissa. If I'm not mistaken, he wasn't even using his support equipment and his outfit looked like it had even more weights on it. What really? But I thought we were evenly matched during our fight, said Ochako, now a little disheartened that she wasn't at Bakugo's level. He wants to get stronger than anyone else, but I'm afraid that he might go over the edge because of it. Izuku was starting to feel bad. I know we aren't exactly friends anymore, but I don't want to see him go down like this. Shut up, All Might, I know my limits, they heard Bakugo yell. They all looked around the school gate to see All Might talking to Bakugo. It would seem that All Might was trying to talk to Bakugo. Soon Bakugo left and All Might turned back towards the school when he saw the group. Oh, hello there, students, said All Might with a wave. All Might, said Melissa, were you talking to Bakugo about his weights? Indeed, young Melissa, said All Might, don't get me wrong. I love to see my students go plus ultra, but I don't want to see them overdo it. You all need to make sure your bodies are in good condition if you want to train properly to be good heroes. You see, Bravo here knows what he's talking about, said Ye. I wish you'd stop calling me that. Flag man. No. While everyone was talking with All Might, Ochako noticed some of the kids leaving the school. Kendo. She called her friend but didn't get a response. Kendo just kept walking with her head down while her mind was elsewhere. Earlier in the observation room. I would like to apologize for everything, said Kendo, bowing towards Jack. You were right. I was foolish. I listened to all the rumors and all of the stories on TV without thinking that something else could be the case. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. Jack said simply. What? But I said all those things. It's technically my fault anyway, said Jack, catching them by surprise. I have my reasons for not using my quirk and my past is my problem, so I should have expected this. Especially with all those stories going around. You were just acting on some misinformation is all. No harm done. But Don't worry about it, Kendo. It's all good. Kendo, said Hibiki, I think our dear Jack has something to hide. Wouldn't you say? Jack eyed her for a moment, but didn't say anything. I'm just saying there's a lot more to your story than you're telling. 'Cause it's my story and it's my choice if I tell it or not, said Jack, realizing she was digging. I got to find out how to get them off my back. But how? Alright, that's enough, you brats, said Gran Torino. Class has ended already and I don't know about you, but I don't want to stay here any longer than I have to. So let's go. Even though Jack had pretty much forgiven Kendo, she didn't forgive herself. She left completely ruined, not by her defeat but by realizing that she let all the stories and rumors she heard not only swayed by them emotionally but swayed enough to act upon them. I don't deserve to be a hero. Kendo. I let my emotions get the better of me and accused someone without the facts. Kendo. I don't deserve to even call myself a martial artist. Istuka. Oh hey Ochako, said Kendo, finally noticing her friend. Are you okay? Her friend said with concern. Oh yeah, I'm doing just fine. No need to worry, said Kendo as she quickly turned, wanting to leave. Sorry, but I need to get Goyo W. As a cane hit her leg. She looked to see her new teacher, Gran Torino. Mr. Torino. Mistakes happen, brat, so get over it. Kendo was stunned for the moment and could only respond, "Huh? Look, it's been a while since I've had to make a good emotional teacher speech, alright? I'm rusty. Would you like some help?" asked All Might, overhearing the situation. You've been a teacher for 2 days and know nothing of the situation. So zip it, boy. Yes, sir. Wait, do you two know each other? Asked Kendo, seeing their dynamic. I used to be his teacher back when he was a student at UA, he said casually. Though he regretted that as all the other students heard that as well and began bombarding him with questions. Shut up. Ask those questions later, he said to the crowd before turning back to Kendo. Look, you're not going to fix anything by being depressed like this. If you really want to make amends, then you should simply do better next time. You can't fix the past, but you can learn from it and use that knowledge for the future, or maybe use it to fix the problems that lay before you, he said as he began to walk back to the school. Or don't, that's your choice. All Might followed him. I remember you telling me something like that when I accidentally hit my classmate too hard. Did I? Yes, but I remember you hitting me a lot more. What can I say? I've grown soft in my old age. All Might gave him a look of disbelief while screaming bull in his head. Though he quickly stopped as he got a notification on his phone. Looks like we are needed in the teacher's office. Kendo, what was that about? Asked Ochako, still worried about her friend. Well, I screwed up. I screwed up bad and I don't know how to make it right, said Kendo. Maybe we can help, said Ochako, wanting to help her friend. Thanks, but I have the feeling I need to fix this on my own, said Kendo. Really, Ochako, thanks for the offer. I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow, as she turned and began walking away. You think she will be all right? Asked Melissa. I hope so, said Ochako, now worrying a lot about her friend. Maybe we can ask some of the others in Class 1B, maybe they know what happened. You're right, maybe they can tell us what happened, she said with renewed hope. Come on, let's go find them. Ye stopped for a moment. Hey guys, where did Izuku go? Kendo kept walking with her head down before she heard something. Kendo, up here. She looked up to see Hibiki sitting on the school walls. Hibiki, what are you doing? Hibiki jumped down and wrapped an arm around Kendo. I think I have something that may help you out, she said as she showed the phone to her. Jackie boy is definitely hiding something. Jack. Huh, Izuku? What are you doing here? Looking for you, said Izuku, who has been searching for a bit to only find Jack on an abandoned road in the back streets. We haven't had a chance to talk yet. That is true. We've been kind of busy since the entrance exam, said Jack. Yeah, agreed Izuku, so have you told anyone? You mean have I told anyone the real demonic origins of quirks? No, said Jack, though not gonna lie, I've been tempted a little just to see how people will react. Yeah. I've thought of doing that too, but I don't think causing that panic would be very heroic, laughed Izuku. So if you don't mind me asking, what's your story? How did you learn about demons? You know, I have the same question for you actually, said Jack. Yushiro told me he was training you, but he never told me the full story. How, really? That's about the same amount he told me about you. I guess he knows not to tell other people's store dash. There he is. Both Izuku and Jack turned to see a group of high schoolers in karate gi running at them. We are the disciples of Ryo Zanpaku Dojo. Jack Mukyu, for your crimes against martial arts you will be punished. Izuku was greatly confused by this turn of events. Jack, what are they? Izuku didn't finish as he turned to see Jack running down the road at top speed. Izuku then ran after him and within a few seconds was able to catch up to him. Jack, what's going on? Why are they chasing you? To keep it short, they chase me because they think I'm a fraud and have no quirk. Well then why don't you show them your power? I mean, you don't need to attack them, but can't you show them something? While I'm very grateful for my sensei giving me his power, I promised that I would show the world my power before I would have to use his. So I don't want to use it unless absolutely necessary, and using it on them isn't worth it. Izuku looked back and saw they were still chasing them, while yelling insults at Jack. They do this every day? Yep, said Jack as he dodged a can being tossed at him. They've been doing this every day since I got to Japan. Though it looks worse than it is. I'm way faster than them and it's not too bad of a workout. Not to mention if their sensei or worse his wife shows up, then they get double garbage duty. Izuku was silent for a moment as he looked at Jack, seeing if there was any doubt in his words. You know, I've only known you for a short while, but I got to say you're incredible. Jack raised his eyebrow at that. You've been through so much and yet you're still tolerant of others' actions towards you. To be honest, I think I might have broken by this point. Jack smiled. Thanks, but don't sell yourself short. You've done a lot yourself with quite a bit of weight on your shoulders. Izuku accepted the compliment. Come on, I've lived in this city my whole life. I'll show you how to shake these guys. Jack smiled as he followed Izuku around the city, giving the others the slip. So how are our students today? Asked Nizu, kicking off the teacher meeting. They're all doing quite well if you ask me, said All Might in his buff form. I admit they all need work, but I see great potential in all of them. Agreed, they are like diamonds in the rough, said Ectoplasm, though on another note I'm surprised to see you in your hero form, All Might. All Might struck a pose. Thanks to Yashiro, I now can hold my hero form for a whole 8 hours. Yes, your surgery went well, said Yashiro before quirky jabbing his fist into All Might's side, causing him to almost keel over. But that doesn't mean you should be wasting your time when we all know about your condition. He's right, you brat, said Gran Torino. Just because you have more time in that form doesn't make it any less valuable. You need to save as much of it as you can. All Might deflated back to his skinny form. Yes, sir. Never thought I would see the number one hero get scolded, said Snipe, getting some of the other heroes to nod in agreement. Well, All Might aside, how are our students in the non-heroic classes? Asked Nizu, trying to get the meeting back on track. Doing all right from what I can see, said Snipe. Some of them clearly have potential. Indeed, said Midnight. Though it seems some of them have caused a little issue. As she pointed out the depressed present Mike, who still had a bit of a dark cloud hovering over him. What exactly happened to him anyway? Demon Slayer and his friends managed to shut him up for once, said Aizawa. I think they just became my favorite students. How cruel. What kind of friend are you? Asked present Mike. How did they do during the battle trail? Said Yashiro, who was slightly curious how his former students were doing. I was only really able to watch the first match. How did the students do? All Might froze for a moment as he tried to figure out how to describe the last battle he saw of Class 1A. Part of him wanted to be nice and say they have some work to do, and another part of him knew that he had to be honest. They have work to do. They have work to do, repeated Aizawa. I saw every match on both sides and I have to say they all failed. In my opinion, the last match of Class A was by far the biggest mess I have ever seen. In my professional opinion, you and Nizu should start your plan now rather than later. This had some of the teachers confused. None of them have heard of any plan. All except Vlad King. Now, Aizawa. I admit they have a lot of work to do, but I think it would be best before we jump the gun like that. Cementos then decided to speak for the teachers and asked, "What plan are you guys talking about?" Yoshiro and Nizu then began to explain their plan to the rest of the teachers. They both told the teachers everything and they didn't leave a single detail out. The end result was utter silence from the other teachers. "Are you crazy?" yelled President Mike. "How in the world do you guys think that's going to be okay?" "Some parts of that plan I can somewhat agree with," said Snipe, "but don't you think that would be a bit much?" "I agree with Snipe," said Ectoplasm. "There are some ideas in the plan that I can see having great potential. Though I can see the other half being problematic." "Problematic is putting it mildly," said Vlad King. "I can already hear the parents screaming at us. Let alone the media." "I say do it," said Gran Torino, shocking several teachers. "Gran Torino," said Midnight. "I know you and Yashiro have been teacher and a hero for a long time but dash." "But nothing," said Gran Torino. "This is a hero school and our job as teachers is to make sure that these kids will be able to handle anything that comes at them. We are heroes and that job is not an easy one. I know it may sound cruel and a bit much, but if we want to make sure they are able to retire out of this job then we need to be tough on them. I don't know about you but I don't want to go to their funeral before I'm dead." This caused several of them to pause and think about the plan. It also caused several of them to reminisce to their fallen comrades, to the friends and family that fell in the line of duty. It also reminded them of their own scars they acquired while on the job. Yashiro saw this and decided to come to the middle. "We don't need to put everything in place immediately, we can wait and see how the students grow and learn, but with Nizu's permission I would like to test the students myself if that's alright." "Oh, you would like to test the new rats yourself, said Nizu. "If it's alright with you and everyone else here. I've been preparing for the year so I haven't been paying too much attention to the students. I would like to see if any of them pass my qualifications." That's when a majority of teachers remembered that Yashiro has been around since the dawn of quirks. He's seen the best heroes under the sun. "Yashiro, I hate to tell you this but aside from your former wards, I don't think many of the other students will meet your expectations," said Aizawa. "Heck, I would put money on it." "Well then we will just have to wait for tomorrow and see," said Yashiro with a smile. Izuku listened to Jack's tale. They both were able to dodge the angry mob and afterwards grabbed a few sandwiches and were currently eating on top of a large office building at least 20 stories high, but neither of them minded as they both knew they could survive the fall. "After I woke up I saw Yashiro talking with my master. Yashiro explained what the demon power was doing to me and that I should be fine. Though he did scold my master for giving it to me. After that I gave one final goodbye to him before he returned to the afterlife." "Wow," said Izuku, "to think people who have long since passed were the ones to help us." "Yeah, who would have guessed that one," said Jack. "Anyway, after that I trained as hard as I could, so I could become a hero. I realized that I should head to one of the best schools that the world had to offer. Not to mention Yashiro said you would be going to UA, so that kind of already decided it for me." "Me?" "Yeah, you. You are the only other human I know who knows anything about demons and the history of the world. Not to mention you learned the power that counters my own. I kind of wanted to fight you, to see how my power stakes against yours." Izuku thought about it for a moment. "Yeah, that would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, though the KO wanted to put me to the test. Called upon several warriors to fight me to see if I was strong enough to move forward. I was able to take on a good amount of them before I had to use my power. After that I was on my way to Japan to see if I could get into UA. You pretty much know the rest." Izuku nodded as he remembered, though it turned into a frown as he thought of the first part of the story. I know we just started off talking although and you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but what happened to your parents? Jack frowned for a moment thinking about his parents. My mom is currently staying with her sister and my dad is in jail for tampering with medical documents. Have you talked to them at all since you left? Jack stayed silent at the question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you upset or anything. No, it's all right. I understand why my dad did it, but it's complicated. I've known for a long time it's going to be something that I'm going to need to confront someday. Jack stood up. Though I think right now both of us need to focus on becoming heroes first before that. Yeah, you're right, said Izuku standing up. We both have a ways to go. They both stared at the sun for a moment looking over Mizutofu. I think it's about time to head home. They both nodded before grabbing their trash and jumping off the building and heading home to get ready for another day. Chapter 22 Demon's Test. Alright, settle down all of you, said Aizawa as he began the class for the day. We have an important class today, but first I would like to say the faculty reviewed your battle trial from yesterday and we have some points we would like to make. Though that will be happening later today. For now I would like all of you to think about what you could have done better in the trial and what were some of the mistakes you made. Aizawa paused for a moment to see the reaction of the students around the classroom. Some were already thinking of how they could have improved while others hung their heads in their failure while a few didn't really seem to care. Now today we were going to have you select class presidents and that still may happen, but the schedule has changed a little. So think about if you want the position or not, or ask yourself if you are capable of the role as class president, and before you ask you will be deciding who will be your representative as a class. You can do it however you like. Though for now get your gear and report to Training Ground Gamma. That is all. As Aizawa finished he made his way to the door. Sir, are we having another battle trial like yesterday? Asked Ida, raising her hand straight. I don't know, a different teacher will be training you today. So grab your stuff and head to Area Gamma, he said as he left the room. Are you serious? We're doing it again, said Kaminari. I don't think I can handle this every day, said Zero. Come on guys, let's meet this challenge head on, said Kirishima. You said it, Red, said Yae, grabbing her case. Let's do this. Momo stayed put for a moment as she was lost in thought. Hey Momo, you okay? Asked Melissa. Yes, I'm fine, it's just there was something different about Mr. Aizawa and I can't put my finger on it. Izuku stopped for a moment. Yeah, now that I think about, you're right, there was something different with Aizawa today. His scarf, said Mina, getting everyone's attention. I noticed it too. He has a new scarf on today. The one he was wearing the past few days was worn out and was a bit dirtier. The one he has today was cleaner. Soon everyone realized she was right. He did have a new scarf on today. So what happened to his old scarf then? Mirio, could you come up here for a sec, said Snipe as he entered the classroom. Sure, Mr. Snipe, said Mirio as he went to the front of the class. Though when he got to the front of the class the door opened. When it did he froze in mid-step as he saw who it was. He began to sweat bullets as he was frozen in fear. It was a smiling Tomo. He turned to run away only for several binds of cloth wrapped around him. Where do you think you're going, Lemillion? He couldn't escape. When he turned to look he realized why. She was using Eraserhead's quirk through his capture weapon that was currently capturing him. Miss Tomo gulp, what are you doing here? Wait, you two know each other? Asked Snipe. You could say we've met before, isn't that right? Said Tomo, still smiling. That sent a shiver up Mirio's spine. Sensei, who's she? Asked another student. This is Tomo, she is a new teacher here at UA. Teacher, squeaked out Mirio. That's right. I'm your new teacher and right now I need to borrow you and your two friends today, said Tomo as she began to drag Mirio out of the classroom to fetch the other two. While Mirio tried his best not to panic. Kendo stood with the rest of her class in Area Gamma. She was currently thinking about what Hibiki said to her yesterday. According to the papers online, Jack claimed in the tournaments that he had a quirk that allowed him to read people's movements. It also said that quirk allowed him to learn fighting moves much faster than other kids. Why are you showing me this? Asked Kendo. I'm showing you this because he's still hiding something and that you might not totally be in the wrong here. Kendo eyed her classmate waringly. Is that all? Hey, I just thought you would like to know I have your back. Kendo looked over at Hibiki, who gave her a wink before turning to Jack, who was doing some stretching. He is hiding something and I can't deny I'm curious, but I really shouldn't go digging. Izuku, said Jack, breaking her out of her thoughts and getting the attention of Class 1B. Hey Jack, said Izuku, walking out with the rest of Class 1A. What are dash? Izuku was cut off as Monoma stepped in between the two. So you're the great demon slayer. You don't look like much to me. Running around town with a sword like some sort of maniac. An uncivilized hero such as yourself will never be able to be as great of a hero like us, as he began to laugh. Izuku and the rest of Class 1 stood there stunned by Monoma's sudden outburst. What the heck is up with this guy, said Class 1A. Kendo then put one big fist in Monoma's way as Jack and Tessatisa dragged him away. I'm sorry about him. For the past few days he's kind of been doing nothing but rant on how much better of a hero he will be than Demon Slayer. Sorry. Oh, no worries, said Izuku, I'm sorry if I caused any of you some trouble. Crazy guy aside, said Melissa, stepping forward. Do any of you know why we're all out here? Soon everyone began shaking their heads as none of them knew why they were here. I can answer that one for you, said a voice. They all turned to see a pale boy in a white kimono who looked younger than them. Most of the students were wondering who he was before. Sensei/Mr. Yushiro/Oldman. They all watched as Izuku, Melissa, Yae and Jack were surprised by the newcomer. Izuku quickly bowed, showing his respect. Sensei, what are you doing? Sensei, said most of the students, not sure what to make of this. Oh Deku, what's going on? Asked Bakugo. Oh, this is my sensei, he's the one who taught me practically everything I know. Everyone paused for a moment as they thought that the famous Demon Slayer was taught by a child. Monoma had to ruin it though by laughing like a madman. You're telling me the famous Demon Slayer was taught by a brat? That's hilarious. Ha ha ha. Bang. Monoama felt a bullet go over his head. They turned to see Yae holding her now smoking rifle. Disrespect the old man again and I will hurt you. Monoma pointed at Yae. What the heck do you think, Dash? He wasn't able to finish as Jack grabbed his arm. Jack looked Monoma in the eye before speaking in a deep voice. Monoma, please shut up. Monoma can safely say he had never been more scared of a classmate until now. Yae, Jack. Stop, said Yushiro. Instantly Yae lowered her rifle and Jack released Monoma's arm. Yushiro sighed. Looks like we should get this over quickly. Izuku, if you wouldn't mind, as Yushiro rolled up his right sleeve and raised his arm. Are you sure, sir? We need to get this over with. Without hesitation, Izuku rushed Yushiro. Before anyone could stop him, he chopped off Yushiro's arm. Everyone watched as his arm was launched straight up into the air. Before everyone could move or say anything, they watched as the chopped arm began to regrow itself, and within 10 seconds a new arm was in its place. Yushiro caught his severed arm with his new arm to show the class. Now that I have your attention, let me introduce myself. My name is Yushiro, my quirk is hyper regeneration. Because of my quirk, I've pretty much stopped aging. I'm 224 years old and have been alive since the dawn of quarks, and to top it off, I'm your new teacher. Yashiro stopped to let the students process what they just saw. To his surprise, one girl recovered quite quickly. "So you're the one who taught Demon Slayer how to fight?" asked Hibiki, now very curious about the newcomer. "Indeed I did," said Yashiro. "I've been alive a very long time and I've learned quite a lot. I taught both Izuku and Melissa, and I've helped out Yae and Jack here and there. I may not be a hero myself, but I'm more than qualified to be teaching all of you. I'm a doctor and I've been studying quirks since they first appeared. I'm quite positive I can help you get the most out of your quirk." "You're the one that taught Deku," said Bakugo. Yashiro looked at Bakugo. Bakugo has been stared down before by teachers, but he had to admit Yashiro took the cake. "Yes. I trained him. An old friend of mine found him on the side of the road, injured and with minor burns. With his quirk he noticed that Izuku had internal damages to his lungs and brought him to me, where I fixed him up and discovered his quirk." Yashiro paused as he stared down Bakugo. He then continued in a lower voice. "So let me make this clear, boy, you are on thin ice. If I ever see you or anyone else do anything like that, I will end your hero career right then and there." Bakugo was quiet for a moment, not sure what to say, but had one question. "Wait, quirk in his lungs?" Yashiro grinned. "Yes, I discovered his quirk and helped him train it, but my point still stands. Don't do anything stupid." "Then you must have known about his activities," said Ida, stepping forward. Yashiro was surprised by this outburst. "Tenya Ida, please explain what you mean by activities." "Everything he's been doing," said Ida. "You should know that vigilantism is against the law. For years it has been a high crime in Japanese society to interfere with the duty of a hero or to pose as a hero without a license." Ida kept on his rant as he began listing the laws that have been broken. Izuku, Melissa, Yae and Jack stood shocked at what Ida was doing. They all turned to see Yashiro's reaction, and to their surprise he looked confused. "What is this boy going on about? What is he doing?" thought Yashiro. "Wait, is he lecturing me?" Yashiro finally realized what Ida was doing. Yashiro took a deep breath before using his severed arm as a sword and swinging underhand at Ida, perfectly hitting him, causing him to do a backflip before landing on his rear, causing his helmet to fly off. Yashiro pointed the arm at Ida. "Don't you dare lecture me, boy, about the law. I was there when it was written. I knew what I was doing and I encouraged Izuku's actions." Yashiro then swung the arm again at the falling helmet, hitting it perfectly to where it would land back on Ida's head. "I'm here to teach, and if you listen you might learn something." A few students could tell he wasn't joking or lying. He was able to use his own severed arm as a weapon. That took some skill to do. "Do you need help with the trash?" Everyone looked to see Tomo approaching along with the big three, who were looking a little nervous. Everyone, allow me to introduce my assistant Tomo, and if you can just deal with this arm that would be great," as he gave Tomo the arm, who teleported it to the furnace. "Now all we're missing is—" "I am here with a delivery," said All Might while holding a box. All Might said a majority of the students, mainly Class B, as they have yet to really meet the number one hero. All Might." "There you are," said Yashiro. "Did you bring the last player for today's lesson?" "I got her right here, though I think she might have fallen asleep," he said as he held out the box. "That box," said Melissa. "No way," said Yae. Izuku knew it right away. "Eri." The second Izuku said the name, the small door on the box opened up and a small girl's head pooped out of the box. "Izuku," said Eri as she jumped out of the box into Izuku's arms. As she did, the students began to fawn over the cute child. "Eri, it's good to see you and all, but what are you doing here?" And why was she in a box? Asked Ochako. She has a habit of sleeping in boxes, said Melissa. Like a cat, pointed out Yae. She's here for today's assignment, interjected Yushiro, because today you guy will be playing tag. HUH, said students. Yay, said Eri excitedly, to be playing a game. Allow me to explain. While the game is going, we will be pulling you aside one at a time for a quick discussion on your quirk. Though you will be graded on the game as well. Though the rules of the game of tag are simple, you must catch Eri. This caused the students to erupt into questions. Let me finish. You will automatically fail if you injure her in any way. She must remain unharmed, and to ensure that, these three idiots will be her defenders, he said, pointing to the big three. Their job will be to interfere with you while you try to catch Eri. Though you can attack these three all you want. I don't care. Hey! How's that fair? Complained Nijire. Yoshiro simply pointed at Tomo, who glared daggers at the three, causing the boys to hide behind Nijire. Okay, that's fair. I don't suppose saying sorry will help, said Mirio. Tomo's eyes then glowed red. I'm going to take that as a no. I could have told you that, said Nijire. Girls don't forget something like that so easily. How did we end up being the bad guys here? Said Sun Eater. We thought we were fighting villains. This made the students confused while Melissa and Yae nodded. Izuku began to blush and All Might began to scratch the back of his head. So Jiro asked the million-dollar question. What did those three do to her? Let's put a pin in that for now. Tomo, you brought those three up to speed, yes? Asked Yoshiro. Tomo nodded. These three are the school's top students. Their hero names are Lemillion, Nijire-chan, and Sun Eater. These three will be your opponents. You win this game by catching Eri, unharmed, and returning her here. Any questions? Several students raised their hands, but Ciro was first. I get they're supposed to be UA's top students, but don't you think this is unfair? Even if you pull one of us aside, we still outnumber them. Not to mention, chasing one girl doesn't really sound like a challenge. Yoshiro then gave him a devilish grin. Eri, could you come here for a second? Why did you say that? Said Yae Elbows. Why did you say that? What do you mean? Now then, how many of you are familiar with old games? Said Yoshiro, getting a confused look from everyone. Or how about the items like the superstar or the invincible candy? Yeah, they're super items, said Aways, remembering the old arcades. Yoshiro then gave Eri a large cookie. Eri took a bit out of it as she swallowed. Her mind was supercharged. It felt as if 100 sugar bombs were going off in her head. Next thing the students knew, Eri disappeared and was replaced with an Eri-shaped cloud. As Eri zoomed down the street of the training area. That super cookie is made with a quirk, so she'll be fine and it should last for the remainder of class today. Well, what are you waiting for? She's getting away. The classes began to scramble after the now sugar-charged little girl. All the students moved as fast as they could, all but one. Aoyama was confused as he tried to run after his classmates until he looked down and realized he was floating. I can fly, of course I can. I'm a star. No, that's not what's happening at all. Yoshiro and Tomo are a little embarrassed at the boy's idiocy. Tomo is keeping you here. We're going by class order and you're the first student of class 1A. Oh, said Aoyama, a little surprised. Well, of course you would want to interview me first. I am a magnifique star after all. Yoshiro didn't say anything at first, wondering if the boy was serious. I just said it was because we're going by seating order. Tomo put the boy down. Now let's get started. Tell me about your quirk. It is my beautiful naval laser. Alright, how does it work? Asked Yoshiro, only to be answered with silence. When Aoyama did answer, he said it was a laser from his navel. This is going to be interesting. Everyone was running after the little girl. Those with speed-boosting quirks tried to get ahead but couldn't as Mirio appeared from the ground intercepting all but one. Mina used her acid to slide on the ground. She avoided Mirio and was able to get in front of Eri. Eri saw this and wasn't about to let the game end here and jumped. Mina saw this and jumped as well, only to be replaced with Aoyama, who was surprised as Eri used his face as a springboard. Soon the big three were able to scatter the class. Oh. What happened? Asked Mina, checking her new surroundings. Relax, Miss Ishido, said Yushiro, who was currently rubbing his temples. We have simply replaced you with Aoyama. Tomo's quirk. Now please tell me what your quirk is with as much detail as possible, said Yushiro. Okay, said Mina as she composed herself. My quirk is acid. I know it sounds simple, but I can do a lot with it. I can produce the acid out of the palms of my feet and the bottom of my feet. I also can control the acidity of the acid as well, so for example I can use it to slide with, or I can make it corrosive enough to melt metal. Excellent, said Yushiro with joy, as this was an improvement from the first boy. Now what equipment do you have to complement your quirk? Well, other than my suit being acid-proof, my main equipment is my gloves and boots that have holes in them to help me aim and concentrate my acid. I've thought about also asking for some sort of squirt gun or gauntlet that I can use my acid with, and some grenades, but that may be too dangerous, especially if someone gets their hands on my equipment. So I've decided before I get any more equipment I would master my quirk first. Better to master what I got first before making things complicated with a weapon. This one is good. She already has a good understanding of her quirk and she is already making logical decisions with her training, thought Yushiro. I may be able to help if you are interested in the squirt gun idea or any other weapon, but equipment aside, anything else about your quirk you can tell me about? Mina thought for a moment. Well, I have been researching for a while about all the things acid can do. I even have been working on an acid wall technique. Really, that's fantastic. Now the final question. Can you please tell me why you want to be a hero? Mina froze as she thought back to the giant that almost buried her and her friends. I couldn't move. Mina collected her thoughts. Before the day Demon Slayer saved me, I wanted to be a hero because I thought it would be fun. You know, to be kind of like a celebrity, but after me and my friends were almost hurt, I began rethinking that. Part of me wanted to quit, but I saw that Hardhead training hard so he wouldn't freeze again. It made me realize I don't want to freeze again either. I want to be strong enough to stand up to giants myself, so if anyone I love is in trouble I can save them, she said with determination. Good, thank you for your time, said Yushiro as Tomo teleported her away, replacing her with Tsuyu. Hello, Miss Azui. How the heck could we lose one little girl, said Kozai as he, along with a small group of Class 1B students, lost track of everyone else and their target. The group consisted of Kozai, Kendo, Jack, Juzo and Reiko. That's a bad omen for us, said Reiko. If we can't find a little girl we can't be heroes. Are you always this depressing? Asked Kozai. This place is a small city, said Juzo. How can UA afford this? Kendo noticed that one group member was being rather quiet, the one that she wanted to talk to the most and the one that she felt guilty about. Should I ask him? Would that be right after the way I treated him? He probably hates me right now. Why would he work with me? As if reading her mind, Jack spoke. I told you to not worry about it. Kendo looked at him surprised. I don't blame you or anything. You're not the only one who's made that mistake. You're not angry or anything. Jack shook his head no. Then why have you been so quiet? Jack scratched his head. Well, at first I was just concentrating. Now, well. Jack thought for a moment before sighing. We have a tail. This confused the group. Come out, I could feel you trying to set me on fire with your eyes when you first saw me today. Come on. Around the corner walked out a student from Class 1A. Staring at the group was none other than Ojiro Mashireo. Ojiro glared at Jack. Hello Jack, remember me? So there is another. If he was following us on foot, then who's watching us from above? Though Jack. Hibiki was the one following them from the rooftops out of sight, wishing she had popcorn. You're the guy who tried to stop me from taking the entrance exam, right? Answered Jack. Ojiro was getting angry before calming himself. There is more than that. My name is Ojiro Mashireo. Jack looked closely at Ojiro. Ojiro Mashi shit, said Jack as the memories came back to him. You wouldn't happen to have a cousin in America, would you? You humiliated him and broke 3 of his bones, he said, causing Jack's classmates to look at him. Yeah, that was around the time things started going downhill, admitted Jack. Look, I know I kinda sorta let my anger get the better of me back then, but do you think we can save this for after class? Ojiro was silent for a moment. Normally I would let something like this pass. It was an official match, but there was evidence of foul play. It was surprising to hear a person with such a minor quirk beat my cousin, but someone who was quirkless. There is no way you could have beaten all those people. UA let you join so I can rule out drugs and anything like that, but that still begs the question. How did you win? And unless you give me a good answer right now, I will fight you. Seriously. Ojiro got into a fighting stance. You may be quirkless, but that doesn't excuse any foul play. If you want to avoid this, then just tell me the truth. Jack slapped his forehead and slowly dragged it down. I wish people would just believe I won being quirkless. Though clearly in today's society that answer won't fly, thought Jack as he thought of what to say. Though one of his classmates came to his defense. Look dude, I get you want to do the right thing, but Jack has a quirk and his past is his own and none of our business, said Cozy Eye. Jack was surprised. It was rare to have someone have his back recently. Though looking at Ojiro's face as it twisted into anger. How dare you insult my family like that? This has nothing to do with you. This confused both Jack and Cozy Eye. Dude, said Juzo, getting their attention. That was so uncalled for. Don't bring someone's family in like that, looking directly at Cozy Eye. Cozy Eye was now really confused. Shut the hell up, Skeletor fuckface. This caught everyone by surprise. Dude, what the hell, man, said Juzo, now getting angry. Alright, that's enough, both of you calm down, said Kendo, getting between them, holding up her hands to stop them. While this was happening, Reiko was looking around. Is it just me or is the air vibrating? This is so much fun, said Hibiki from the roof. Let's crank it up a bit. As she raised her finger, causing the air around it to vibrate. You know Nina hates you. Jack went wide-eyed at the words coming out of Ojiro's mouth. What type of man are you, breaking her heart like that, or were you okay with that cause you knew she never loved you? This triggered Jack. Don't you dare. Jack stopped for a moment as 2 things accrued to him. 1. How did he know about Nina? 2. His lips weren't matching the words he was saying. Something isn't right here. I accept your challenge, Jack, said Ojiro. Jack wanted to say something but came to the conclusion that it would make things worse. Though Kendo did try and stop it. Kendo got between the 2, holding her hands out to stop. I'll be the referee for this match. Kendo, stop talking. That's it, said Ojiro as he charged. Jack pulled Kendo out of the way. Now the real fun begins, said Hibiki in anticipation. Ojiro swung his tail at Jack in mid-air. Jack ducked under the tail when Ojiro landed. Jack launched a kick directly at Ochako's head. "What?" said Jack as he stopped the kick, but Ochako's instincts kicked in and grabbed Jack's leg and threw him. Jack turned in mid-air and was able to recover from the landing. "Ochako, what are you doing here?" asked Kendo, surprised to see her friend. Ochako was confused herself. "I was just giving my interview with Mr. Yushiro. When I was done, that Tomo lady teleported me here." "It must have been his turn," said Reiko. "She just got done and now it's Ojiro's turn." "Ojiro? He's the plain guy in the seat above me," said Ochako, trying to remember. Though she did remember Jack's kick. "Wait, were you guys fighting?" "Something else was happening," said Jack as he scanned the rooftops looking for something. Hibiki looked down at the group with a disappointing look on her face. "Fun's over." She then began to move away from the scene. "And I was so close to getting them to start fighting too. Well, better luck next time, I guess. Now where would the girl be? Boom, I guess I should start over there." "What are you doing?" yelled Ida. "We're supposed to capture the girl, not kill her." "I wasn't aiming for the girl, you damn robot," said Bakugo. "I was aiming for dash." He was cut off by Mirio's flying uppercut as he appeared from the ground. Damn it, as he let off another blast. "Where did that bastard go? Is it just me or are you a little sluggish?" They looked up to see Mirio coming out from the side of a building. "You're going to have to do better than that," as he disappeared into the wall. "There she is." Bakugo and Tenya turned to see Kirishima hot on the heels of the little girl. "I got her." "No, I got her," said Tessitisa, getting in front of the little girl. Eri looked behind her before jumping at the perfect time, causing the two boys to collide with each other head first. Though right before she landed, the ground turned to ice, causing her slip and slide around. "Now," said Shoto. As Zero tried to use his tape to capture Eri, but Sun Eater's tentacles were faster as he snatched Eri before Zero's tape could touch her. "Nijire," he said as he handed her the little girl. The floating blue Annette took the girl away from the other students. "Are you kidding me?" yelled Bakugo as he launched an explosion at Sun Eater. Sun Eater dodged and turned his legs into some sort of bird and ran away. "Hey, get back here," but Sun Eater was too fast. Bakugo growled. "Where's the third one?" "Up there," said Setsuna, pointing to a rooftop where Izuku was confronting Mirio. Izuku made a quick slash at Mirio. Mirio quickly activated his quirk. "You really are a challenge, Demon Slayer." "You're faster than my quirk," said Mirio, raising his leg, showing a small cut. "Right back at ya," said Izuku through some heavy breaths. "Your quirk makes it difficult to land any attacks. Not to mention you know how to use it extremely well." "Thanks, I've trained hard every day so I can become a great hero." "Shall we continue?" Izuku ready his sword. "Calm down, Izuku, you've fought opponents like this before. Physical attacks won't work, I'm going to need to try something else that would work against him." "Lemillion, I could use your help over here," yelled Sun Eater as a beast Jirota chased him. "Got to go," said Mirio as he phased through the roof. Izuku caught his breath as he made his way to ground level, where Bakugo yelled at him for letting Mirio get away. "Bakugo, that's not our, don't have to fight those three. In fact, I don't know if we should." "He's right, we need a plan," said Momo as she, Jiro and Toru walked towards the group. "We should gather everyone here or to a nearby location." Fireworks were set off in the distance, catching their attention. "Please ignore that, Sato," said Yushiro, getting his attention. "If you wouldn't mind explaining your quirk, please." "Right. My quirk is called Sugar Rush. For every 10 milligrams of sugar I have, my strength increases, said Sato. Do other sugars affect you at all? Asked Tomo. Like cinnamon sugar, brown sugar, or cane sugar at all do anything? Sato gave her a blank stare. I've never tried. Yoshiro and Tomo were silent for a moment. Okay, moving on. Any equipment you use for your quirk or for any form of wrestling you use? Asked Yoshiro. Wrestling, said Sato, confused, making Yoshiro silently pray. I don't really wrestle. I just thought this outfit would make me look cool. Yoshiro groaned. Tomo. He's number 10, sir. We have 34 to go. Yoshiro then pinched the bridge of his nose. This is going to be a long day. Chapter 23, Demon's Choice. Kendo clapped her hands together to get the giant group's attention. They had managed to gather all of their classmates to a small square in Area Gamma. Okay, it took a while, but we finally have everyone here. Momo then took center stage. We need to come up with some sort of plan that can help us here. Izuku, Yae, Melissa. Have you guys done this before? We have, confirmed Yae. Yeah, but before she wasn't supercharged, said Melissa. And she didn't have 3 pro hero level people guarding her, pointed out Izuku. I can definitely believe those 3 are the top students of this school. To top it off, they have a lot better teamwork than we do. That could be one of our biggest problems, said Jack. Let's face it. We all barely know each other. There hasn't been enough time to make solid teamwork. A few of us have already stepped on each other's toes. This isn't fair, whined Mineta. It's only our 3rd day. How do they expect us to take the top 3 students? Not all of us are as good as Demon Slayer. It has nothing to do with Izuku, you wimp, said Yae before becoming quiet. They're just that good. Yae had tried to take on Mario, but his phase quirk got her. When she tried chasing him, Nijire and Sun Eater tag teamed her. Their biggest strength is their teamwork. We may have to divide and conquer. Kirishima raised his hand. Can't you and Izuku take them? I mean, you guys have fought together before, right? Izuku and Yae looked at each other for a second. We have, but there wasn't much teamwork involved. He's right, said Yae. We may have fought together side by side, but we haven't exactly had to use teamwork. Wait, you guys have done this before? Asked Jack. Oh, we played tag with Eri several times, said Melissa, remembering them chasing each other on top of the mountain. Got any suggestions? I set a trap using cookies as bait, said Yae. If I had trouble, I would use a toy to get her close. Melissa was a little ashamed that she had trouble catching the child. Though that was a good thing. They used tag as a form of training just in case they need Eri to run and avoid capture. I could catch her, but, said Izuku, she is back up now and is currently supercharged. I don't think we should fight them, said Kendo. I say we capture Eri, then split into groups to run decoy. So we can get her back to the teachers. I have an idea for that, said Momo. We're going to need Todoroki's power, she said as she pointed at where he was. Tokoyami? The bird boy was just as surprised. I just got back. What did I miss? Oh, please do tell me why you won't use your left side, asked Yoshiro. It's personal, was all Shoto said. Yoshiro thought for a moment as he analyzed the boy. Your father is a hero, yes. Yoshiro already knew this, but he wanted to see the boy's reaction. Shoto looked at Yoshiro. Yeah, he is. Your family must be proud of you. Going down a noble career path. Yoshiro didn't take his eyes off of Shoto for a second. Following your father's footsteps. There it was. Yoshiro saw as Shoto's eyes hardened with hatred. Endeavor might be an ass, but he wouldn't directly do this. No, there would be a bit more of a scandal if there was, thought Yashiro. But he blames his father for the scar, that much is clear. So family. It's old, so I doubt siblings. Hatred like that doesn't last if it was because of a child's actions. It's also a quirk related to genetics. Yashiro's eyes widened as he put the puzzle together. Your mother did that to you, didn't she? Shitoto was stunned. He was going to deny it, but Yashiro continued. Your quirk is amazing and it perfectly covers any heating or cooling issues you might have. You refused to use the side you inherited from your father. He is the problem. He is the reason you were born and the reason something happened to your mother. It was a quirk marriage, wasn't it? Shoto stood there too stunned to say anything. The most he was able to say was a quiet how? I've been alive for a long time. I've seen a lot. I haven't done a background check on any of you. I just figured it out. Yashiro saw the boy begin to become nervous. Don't worry. You don't have to say anything else. Your actions already confirm it for me. Though I doubt you admitting something like that would help. Endeavor has most likely covered his tracks by now. He is unfortunately the number 2 hero. There was a moment of silence as no one knew what to say next. Yashiro decided that was enough. We can talk more about this another time. For right now, let's get you back with the other students. Thank you, was all Shoto could say. He was clearly shocked with how easily Yashiro was able to piece everything together and didn't know exactly what to do now that an adult knew about what happened. Tomo sent him back to the other kids but didn't grab the next on just yet. Sir, can't you just tell the government to arrest Endeavor? You can still arrest him for trespassing on your property. I don't believe that would solve the problem, not to mention I've already abused quite a bit of power already. I don't want any of those annoying politicians getting on my nerves. Yashiro grabbed his phone and gave a devilish grin. Not to mention right now I can have Endeavor do whatever I want as a punishment. Bring in the next student, please. Hi, said Toru. They gave her a look up and down. Young lady, are you naked right now? I'm wearing gloves and boots right now. Does that count? Yashiro face-palmed hard. I'll take that as a no. Bakugo stared down Yashiro with a million thoughts going through his head. If you're going to yell at me, then just do it. I don't need you blaring at me. I've already given you a piece of my mind and a warning that I won't be forgiving of actions that are uncalled for. Right now I'm just curious. If you're going to do something. Bakugo was silent for a moment before grinning. I'm going to be number 1. So train the rest of these rejects as much as you want, but in the end I'll be the number 1 hero. That's what's going to happen. Yashiro raised an eyebrow. Really? Do you regret any of your actions? Bakugo stopped smiling. I've been told countless times since Izuku disappeared that we can't take back our actions, we can't turn back the clock. We can only learn from our mistakes. So I'm going to keep moving, and if Izuku has a problem with it, then he can come at me himself. If someone told me this was the Wind Pillar's reincarnation, I would believe it, thought Yashiro. Alright then. We will see what you can do. You seem confident enough, I won't give you any help unless you ask for it. Trust me, I won't need it, said Bakugo. We'll see, just don't cause any trouble. Yashiro turned to his assistant. Tomo, if you would. Tomo snapped her fingers, sending Bakugo away and replacing him with Mineta. They already knew everything about Izuku, so they decided to skip him. Yashiro looked at the short boy. Are you wearing a diaper? What, no, said Mineta embarrassingly. This is to help protect my precious jewels. Okay, I know I usually ask this last, but why do you want to become a hero? To pick up girls, he said without any form of hesitation. The demon was about to regret this. Come again. I want to be a hero so I can become popular so girls will love me, he said with pride. Leaving both the teachers in front of him and the teachers that were watching stunned. Yashiro was at a loss for words. In the hundreds of years he's been alive, no one has made him speechless like this. Though what snapped him out of it was a bird flying above them. Yashiro looked up watching the pigeon. Tomo could believe this. You must be joking, young man. I'm not joking. I like to take pictures of the girls in my class. I love their uniforms and costumes, he said with a lecherous smile that gave Tomo the creeps. Tomo visibly shivered. Sir, please give me permission to expel this boy. That pigeon isn't flying normally, and it's been circling the boy for some reason. Though Yashiro, do you have anything else to say? Mineta looked at Tomo. What are your 3 sizes? Tomo's face turned red as Mineta put the final nail in his coffin. Hibiki smiled as she looked down at her phone screen. She was currently holding 2 phones. One showed Mineta getting hit and the other phone was Mineta that showed a picture of Hibiki's backside. While all of them were gathered to come up with a plan, Mineta went around to get pictures of the girls of Class 1B. That will teach you not to take pictures of my ass, she said as she tossed the boy's phone into the shadows that swallowed the phone. Now that's done, time to get this class over with. Hibiki made her way out of the alley. Hibiki volunteered along with some other students to scout around the area for Eri and the Big Three. Though she found them long ago. She saw Shoji on top of the roofs using his limbs to scout. Hey, Shoji, was it? I found them, they're over there, she said, getting his attention. Shoji followed where she was pointing and pointed his senses in the direction. He then began to hear the upperclassmen voices. Ha, they are over there. I could have sworn I already checked over there. Come on, we should tell the others, said Hibiki. Time to put the plan in motion. Oh. They found Eri sitting on top of a light post with Nijire eating chips. The students from both classes were slowly surrounding the two. Okay, we're in position, said Melissa through the walkie-talkie. Courtesy of Momo. Decoy phase go. Ye began firing several shots at the pair that exploded, creating a smokescreen. Eri and Nijire jumped out of the smoke only to be greeted by several students. Like they predicted, both Lemillion and Sun Eater jumped into action. Bakugo and Izuku jumped into action to make sure to keep Lemillion at bay, while Kojiro took the opportunity to use his glue to trap Sun Eater while Siro wrapped him up. Nijire wasn't about to leave her friend behind, but Ye wasn't letting her get close. Melissa knew they needed to bring her down. Hey, I need a lift, she said as she began to pick up speed. An ape boy got ahead of her. Gotcha right here, said Jirota as he went into full beast form and stuck out his hands. Melissa jumped into the hand as Jirota sent her directly at Nijire. Nijire saw this and began to move out of the way. No, you don't. Melissa used her whip to wrap around her waist. Nijire began to struggle with the new weight. Hey, get off. Nijire began to power a ray when she felt a hand grab her arm. She looked to see a floating hand grab her as more flying parts began to pull her down. What the heck is going on? This is getting kind of creepy? Don't worry, said the floating head of Setsuna. I'm also a girl, so you don't need to freak out. I won't grope ya. That doesn't make me feel better, as Nijire got low enough for both Kirishima and Tessatisa to grab the whip and bring her down to the ground. Before she could power up a shot, Kojiro and Siro used the moment to capture the girl. This makes it worse. Guys. yelled Mirio, seeing his comrades captured. Pay attention, screamed Bakugo as he blasted Mirio. Mirio phased through the blast as he went to help his friends. Breath of flame, rolling heat, yelled Izuku as he sent a wheel of flames to slow Mirio down. Though it did little as he phased through the ground. Bakugo wanted to continue the chase. No, Bakugo, now that the three have been halted for a bit, we need to go after Eri. Bakugo would have responded, but Izuku vanished at that very moment. Izuku suddenly was with Melissa, and both of them were in front of Yushiro and Monoma. Apologize, you two, but I needed to borrow you two for a moment. Sure. What's this about? Asked Melissa. Well, Monoma here was trying to boast about his quirk, and it brought an interesting idea for an experiment. Also a little warning for him, said Yushiro. Warning, said Monoma, don't make me laugh. You're probably afraid I'll use their quirks better than they can. Yushiro gave the boy a tired look. Yes, because that's what I was worried about, he said sarcastically. Melissa looked around for a moment. Hey, where's Tomo? Over here. Tomo was sitting on a bench behind them. Sorry, I just needed a moment after I sent the trash away. The students were a bit confused by that. Moving on, Monoma, please copy both Izuku and Melissa's quirk, please, said Yushiro as he nodded to Tomo. Tomo nodded back as one eye turned purple. Both Izuku and Melissa held out their hands. When Monoma touched their hands to copy their quirks, he knew something was wrong. What the hell is happening? He said as he grabbed his chest. My insides. What is happening to me? I thought this would happen, said Yushiro, putting a reassuring hand on Monoma. Keep your breath steady. How's your heart? I can't feel it, and am I breathing? He asked, not sure what was going on. I can't tell. Sensei, what's happening to him? Asked Melissa. He copied your quirks along with the fact that he too can't feel them. Wait, what? What do you mean can't feel them? What are you talking about? Asked the boy. We can't feel our quirks, Melissa can't feel her heart, and I can't feel my lungs, explained Izuku. It's why we didn't discover our quirks until we met Yushiro. Yep, Yushiro tapped the boy's back. You took their quirks along with the fact that they can't feel certain parts of their bodies that are related to this, what I was warning you about. Your quirk is good, but if you copy the wrong quirk it could lead to some problems. Like right now, if you try to use either quirk you could give yourself a heart attack or fill your lungs with water. Monoma listened for a moment. Wait, so how do you guys use your quirks? If you can't feel it, then how? We use other parts of our bodies to tell us, said Izuku. Just because we have a few issues isn't going to stop us, said Melissa. It just means we have a few more hurdles to jump through than others. Monoma couldn't believe that two of the three students everyone is talking about are disabled like this. He didn't know what to say. Part of him wondered if he could do that. He couldn't deny this changed his opinion of the trio now, or at least for the two in front of him. Thank you two for helping here. This has been quite enlightening, said Yushiro while he signaled Tomo. So she could send them back. This should keep Monoma from trying to mess with their quirks. Though I'm going to need to find a better solution. Eri was running through streets ducking and dodging the students. She was having so much fun. I wished we could do this back on the mountain, then I would be unbeatable. I know all the nooks and crannies on the mountains, she thought as she was running. I hope Mr. Yushiro can give me another super cookie. The last one was tasty. Sneak attack, yelled Denki as he and a few others jumped out of the bushes. Eri saw this and simply jumped out of the way as they all dogpiled each other. She saw the rest coming from behind. Then headed down an alley. Dang it, how did she do that? You yelled sneak attack, you idiot, said Jiro. You don't scream when you're trying to sneak up on someone. Eri kept running through the alley until Bakugo landed at the exit of the alley. Nowhere left to run, brat. Eri smiled before jumping and kicking the wall, making a nice Eri-sized hole to escape through. What the hell? Zero was descending from the rooftops. I think she just pulled off a pro gamer move. As he said it, Bakugo gave him a glare. Hey, relax, she's heading right where we want her. Eri ran through the building until she found an exit. She was able to get out, though Shoto was waiting for her. Shoto stomped his foot, creating a massive wave of ice. Eri ran in the other direction as fast as she could, which is exactly what they planned. Ye had lined the street with some discs made from her strange metal. She detonated them, causing a smokescreen. Eri then put the pedal to the metal as she wanted to get out, but then noticed that the ground became slippery due to Mina lay out some slippery less acidic acid. She slid on the ground. As the smoke cleared, Eri could see Momo and Kendo rolling a giant clear pot in front of Eri. Eri tried to move, but the ground was too slippery and slid right into the pot. Kendo quickly slapped the lid on the pot before Eri could bust out, though that didn't stop the little girl from trying. Eri began bouncing around the pot like a wild animal, trying to find a way out. The entire time Kendo, Jack, and Shoji were holding the lid closed. Stop, Eri! Yelled Momo. This pot is made of diamond-laced plexiglass. It would take All Might a couple hits to break out of this. Don't underestimate Eri, said Melissa, coming to help. Because of her quirk, she can have almost unlimited stamina. She might be able to get out. Momo looked at Eri, noticing her horn was glowing, and didn't take that as a good sign. Zero, get over here and tape this lid shut. Yui, get that RC car ready, yelled Kendo. Yui nodded and enlarged a modified RC car. The car was a truck with a flatbed in the back. Whoa, where did you guys get this? Asked Ye. I made them, said Momo, helping Zero seal the lid. Why didn't you bust something like this out yesterday? Asked Ye before making some strange metal to reinforce the lid. Here, this should help. Thanks, be careful not to cover the handle of the lid, that's where the breathing holes are. As for your question, this pot was so complex that it took almost all I had to make, and even then it wasn't nearly this big. Yui made it this large. After this, all I had left in me was an RC car along with the controller and small toy wagon. Yui held up the small wagon. I made that just in case something happened to the car. Nice thinking. Thanks, but I'm spent. I don't think I'll be of any help from here on in. Where's Izuku? Don't worry, said Melissa. He, along with several others, have already left to intercept the big three. Kendo clapped her hands as she grabbed the pot. Then let's get this show on the road, as she and Shoji secure the pot with Eri on the RC truck. Ojiro was watching the whole thing, feeling a little bad he wasn't able to do anything. The most he was able to do was to keep an eye on Jack. Yashiro told me to calm down, but something isn't right. Then Ojiro noticed that there was another person staying a bit away. Hey Monoma, right, getting the boys' attention. You doing all right? Hibiki, on the other hand, was already done. She was also watching them load up Eri from the rooftops. It looks like all the fun is ending. Should I do something to extend it? Now that would cause too much suspicion, and I've already done enough of that today. For a moment Hibiki stood staring at the sky. Is there really nothing else for me to do today? Next thing Hibiki knew, she was no longer on the roofs. She was on the streets facing her new teacher. Hello Hibiki, it's time for us to have a chat. Oh right, I still have this to do. Everything was smooth sailing so far for the escort team: Kendo, Jack, Momo, Zero, Yui, Jirota, and Shoji. Okay, this is going too smooth, said Kendo. Agreed, said Jack. You guys are paranoid, said Zero. Demon Slayer is with them and that guy has more training than the rest of us. My question is, why aren't we going straight back to the teachers? Momo scoffed. 1 Ye has the most training. 2 By that logic those 3 have just as much training. They were first years when Izuku first disappeared to start his training. They're good. They may not be as good or have done as much as Izuku, but they're closer to him than we are, and there's 3 of them that know how to work as a team. Yui was sitting on the top part of the truck as Momo didn't make a seating compartment, controlling the RC car with a controller. As for why we are taking the long way, it is because we are trying to avoid them as much as possible. All of our classmates are out there trying to slow them down. Hopefully it will be enough. Shoji's extra ears picked up something. Hate to tell ya. They ain't enough. Boogie's at 10 o'clock. Everyone turned to see Tamaki with bird wings and talons holding Mirio with Nijire flying beside them firing a spiral blast right at their tire. Jack saw this and grabbed 2 rings on both of his arms and removed them, attaching them to his belt. Time to bail. What? Said Zero. Plan B, yelled Kendo as Shoji and Jirota grabbed the pot and jumped off the car. Momo, Zero, and Yui quickly followed. Jack! Jack waited until the tire was hit. When it did, he grabbed the truck and flipped it sideways. Jack landed while the truck was still in the air. Jack pulled his fist back and got into his fighting stance. Jack then gave the truck a powerful punch, launching it directly at the big 3. Nijire dodged left while Sun Eater dodged right. Lemillion went through the flying car and met Jack head-on. Hurry up and get the girl back to the teachers. No you won't, as Mirio landed. Phantom Menace as he disappeared into the ground before reappearing at high speed, slamming Jack in the gut. Pushing him back but not taking him out. What? I didn't pull my punch that much? Jack grabbed his arm. It's going to take more than that to take me down. Mirio looked at where he punched Jack, noticing that it was covered in something. Is that soot? Mirio phased out of his grip. Good thing you're not my target. Mirio then switched and made a beeline for Eri. Shit, they still haven't loaded her onto the wagon yet. He's too fast, and if I punch I might hit the others. We won't let you, yelled Ida, running into the scene, wearing the sparkling cape of Aoyama, cutting off Mirio. This guy is fast, thought Mirio. Huh, wait, this guy didn't have a cape before. The cape was thrown off Ida's back, revealing a short girl. Surprise, yelled Kanoko as she used her special mushroom spray. Eat shroom. Mirio was caught off guard and inhaled the shroom spores. Mirio backed off as he felt the spores enter his lungs. This isn't good. I've never phased out something as small as spores from my body. Lemillion yelled, Sun Eater, wanting to help his friend. Are you forgetting about us? Yelled Izuku as he sliced off some of his tentacles. Don't forget me, screamed Bakugo as he sent some explosions at the 3rd year. After seeing this, Mirio looked over to see Nijire having a problem with the pink gravity girl and the girl that can separate her body, all while trying to dodge Jay's fire and Melissa's jumping whip attacks. Yeah, this is bad. Ida, Jirota, yelled Kendo, you guys need to pull the wagon. You guys are the fast ones. Go. She jumped down and got into a fighting stance. We'll hold them off here. Get moving. Never thought I would be hauling a wagon at UA, said Jirota as he turned into his big beast mode. He and Ida got in front of the wagon while Yui folded and enlarged Zero's tape to turn into ropes. Ready to haul? Let's go, as Ida and Jirota put the pedal to the metal. Mirio was watching this while he was slowly trying to phase the spores from his lungs. We can't let them get away, before feeling a blow to the head that he phased through him. Jack had kicked his visor off. Hate to tell ya, but we ain't going down that easy. Mirio grinned persistence. That's a good quality. Then how about we show you a few more, said Kendo as they charged Mirio. Hibiki just got done with her demonstration of her quirk and she could tell Yashiro wasn't buying it at all. The entire time Yashiro was giving a piercing gaze. It was as if he saw right through her. Luckily her family trained her for this. She began to act a bit nervous like any other student would if a teacher was scolding them or disappointed. Is there something wrong, Mr. Yashiro? You're lying to me, he said in a calm tone. What, how am I lying to you, said Hibiki, putting on an act that would fool anyone. Noise control is my quirk. I'm able to make a bubble to where no sign would come out, or I can increase the noise to cause damage. Yashiro's face didn't change. This guy is not buying any of it. It's how I passed the entrance exam. I turned up the sound around a robot and either their sensors broke or it was distracted enough for me to take them out. That was how she passed the exam. Oh, I don't doubt that's how you pass the entrance exam. Noise control is only one ability of your quirk. It isn't your quirk entirely. So my question is, why are you lying to me? He asked. Hibiki gave him a nervous smile. A smile that Yashiro knew too well. It's been hundreds of years and this girl has the same tail as her ninja ancestor. Though she definitely lies better than him. I should have kept track of the Uzui family. They seem to have gone back to their dark days. Even though Hibiki was acting nervous, she and Yashiro were staring each other down. Hibiki was going to double down that she didn't know what Yashiro was talking about, but luckily Tomo heard something. They all turned to see Jirota and Ida hauling at top speed a wagon carrying Eri in a giant pot along with Yui and Siro riding it. They were also going too fast. Yashiro told them to slow down, but instead they tried to hit the brakes, which was clearly a mistake. Ida and Jirota tried to stop, but Ida wasn't strong enough and fell under the wagon, while Jirto was able to stop the wagon. The pot along with Yui and Siro went flying. Siro tried to protect Yui and tape a nearby building, but Yui was faster and enlarged a special pillow cushioning their crash. All Might came running into the scene at top speed to catch the pot, which he did, but the second Tomo saw the pot fly she snapped her fingers and teleported Eri to her arms. That was so much fun, said Eri, cheering in Tomo's arms. Can we do that again? Yashiro was comforted by the sight of the child having a good time. Well, looks like Eri is alright. How about the rest of you? I think we're good, said Siro as he helped Yui out of the pillow. I'm good here as well, said Jirota, lifting the wagon off of Ida. Though I think Ida here is a bit hurt. No, I'm just fine, said Ida as he struggled to get up only to fall down again when he tried to put weight on his leg. Okay, maybe not as much as I thought. Yashiro bent down and glanced at the leg. Yep, most likely a fracture. Eri, could you help this boy out, please? Okay, said Eri as she walked over to Ida. Her horn glowed for a second before she patted his head, which everyone thought was adorable. At first Ida had no idea what was going on, but then he felt as if he was never injured in the first place. My leg, it's fixed, clearly surprised. How? That's Eri's quirk, SAS. Yashiro patted Eri's head. Her quirk is a little complicated, but she can heal people as long as the injury was recent. Yashiro then pulled his phone out. Torino, you can stop the students now. Eri was successfully brought back. Shortly after that, Gran Torino made the announcement that the match was over and that the third years lost. Soon after that, everyone was gathered together again. Yashiro quickly wrapped up analyzing Class 1B quirks. As he did so, the students socialized amongst themselves. The big three were also joining them. You guys did great, said a bouncy Nijire. Honestly, I don't think even some of our classmates have given us such a workout. Indeed, said Sun Eater, who also was looking at the wall. You guys will do good. What's up with him? Asked Denki, confused by the third year's actions. Oh, Tamaki is our class kitten, which didn't really explain anything. Don't mind him. It's just Tamaki being Tamaki, said Mirio, though I have to agree with Nijire, you guys were amazing. Bakugo was growling the whole time and was getting louder. Shut up, getting everyone's attention. You bastards weren't even fighting seriously. You only kept up hit and run tactics. None of you stood your ground and fought any of us. You kept running from us. You weren't going all out at all. That's because that wasn't the objective, and I'll admit at first we weren't putting our backs into it, but I assure you worked for this win. Mirio congratulating the class. Though not all of them felt that way, cause they know they didn't really do much. Oh, don't worry, you guys will get there eventually, said Nijire, picking up on those that were a little down. You even have that guy that taught Demon Slayer and All Might's niece. So I'm sure you'll get to our level in no time. Melissa froze. Though the rest of the students went wide-eyed as her words sunk in. What? Was it something I said? Everyone thought for a moment, as they knew Demon Slayer had two female friends that he fought alongside with and that were under the care of Yushiro. Yae and Melissa. Yae crossed her arms while shaking her head no. Melissa on the other hand tried her best to somehow turn invisible but failed. Eri then tugged on Melissa's hand. Melissa? Melissa is All Might's niece. No way, yelled all the other students. How, wait, did you guys not know that? As Nijire finally understood the shock. Nijire, I think they were trying to keep that as a secret, said Mirio, putting two and two together. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, apologized Nijire. It's okay, said Melissa. Nice going, airhead, said Yae as she patted Melissa back. As she did, she noticed two faces in the crowd were still shocked, but they weren't looking at Melissa, they were looking at All Might. Oh shit. Yae then began to move through the crowd. All Might, is this for real? Asked Kirishima. Yae moved past him. All Might decided there was no point in denying it now. Yes, Melissa here is my niece. Yae then grabbed one of the students as she made her way to the other one. Ochako continued to stare at All Might as she remembered meeting Melissa's uncle the other day. Wait, then that guy was Dash. Gravity cheeks, fun size, said Yae, wrapping her arms around the two girls. You guys did great out there, and it reminded me I still owe you two for helping me out around the library. You know, when I was exploring the school. They both knew this was a lie. They never helped Yae explore the school. Keep quiet and we will explain everything, she said in a low voice so no one would hear. Well, everyone but one girl. Hey Izuku, you're still up for some practice after school? Sure, said Izuku, smiling. Do you two want to come as well? Ochako was still in silent shock but nodded her head in a yes. Yui stared at him and Yae for a moment. Sure, let me just tell my parents first. Melissa was silent, thanking her friends. Good thing everyone has their eyes on us, she thought. She then noticed that Shoto was staring at her as if they were the only two people there. You're All Might's niece. Yeah. What the heck's with him? I see, was all Shoto said as he turned away. Though he did notice through the corner of his eyes that Yushiro was staring at him. Alright, that's enough, said Yushiro, getting everyone's attention. It's time for Eri to go home and time for a late lunch for the rest of you. Bye-bye, said Eri as she waved goodbye to students as All Might took her home. The students were all heading to locker rooms to change. So what else do we have left to do today? Asked Hibiki subtly, reminding everyone there is still one more thing for them to do. That's right, said Ida, we have to select a class representative. You guys too, said Awaza. Vlad told us we have to figure out who the class representatives are going to be. How are we supposed to do that? Asked Denki. Voting would be the most diplomatic for our classes, said Yui. Monoma got in front and gave everyone in his class a wide smile. I would gladly nominate my dash. Jack raised his hand. I nominate Kendo. Ha! Kendo might have just been punched in the face with how shocked she was. You want me? You of all people. Yep. You kept a cool head and took charge. You're the best pick. But don't you want it? Nope. I also vote Kendo, said Hibiki. She did make the good calls, said Jirota. Yep, she did good, Shroom, said Kanoko. Soon a majority of Class 1B voted for Kendo, making her the class representative. I guess they got everything figured out, said Izuku. We should do the same. He thought for a moment who would be the best at the job. I think it should be Ida or Momo as our class representative. This shocked most of the class since most were going to vote for him and thought he should be the class president. I haven't been to school since the beginning of middle school. I don't think I would be good for it. Momo was a little conflicted by this. Are you sure you want to pick us? Why not Melissa? Melissa laughed. I've never been to public school in my life, not to mention when I was in school it was in a different country. I have to agree with Izuku, you two do seem the most responsible for the job. Momo and Ida looked at each of their classmates before settling on Yae. What, you guys think I could do the job? I'm in the same boat as them. I haven't been to school before in my life, pointing at Izuku and Melissa. I still don't know how half the crap in this place works. The robot may have a stick up his ass, but at least he can get the job done, and Magic Tits can make sure he doesn't go full Terminator. Momo just glared at Yae as she walked into the girls' locker room. Gee, thanks Yae. Don't mention it. Yashiro was walking through the halls with fire in his step. With Tomo following him, knowing full well what was about to do. You know, they did do an excellent job today. Yes, they did, but only about a quarter of them really contributed anything today, not to mention most of them had no idea how their quirks functioned. These kids have had their powers near birth and they don't know how it works. Not to mention some of them were ill-equipment, naked, or thought all they needed was their powers. Don't get me wrong, they all can become great heroes, but they need a fire lit under their asses. Don't suppose there's a better way than to crush their dreams. Well, maybe them fighting real villains could do it, but I doubt Nizu and the other teachers would let me bring criminals on campus. Is that what it was like for the Demon Slayer candidates? They were literally thrown into a death trap. The equivalent for today's standards would be to toss them into Tartarus and to survive there for a week. Tomo was surprised at this. How many survived? Average was about 7 per exam out of at least 50 candidates each exam, said Yushiro, remembering Tanjiro explaining the exams to him. And they wonder why we didn't help them sooner. You are a demon. Remember. Yashiro chuckled. Yes, I remember. They walked through the hall, passing by Eraserhead and Present Mike. As they passed, Yashiro tossed Eraserhead a weight of cash. That bad? He asked. Yep, said Yashiro as he and Tomo made their way to Class 1C. They barged in while Cementos was in the middle of a lecture. Hello everyone, can I please have your attention? Class 1C was silent, not knowing who or what was going on. Yashiro, Tomo. What are you doing? The plan, said Tomo. Oh dear, said Cementos. Alright class, allow me to introduce Yashiro and Tomo. Don't let his looks fool you. Yashiro is over 200 years old and they both are UA teachers. He's even helped train heroes such as All Might. So treat them with respect. The students began to whisper to each other. Yes, and before I answer any of the questions, I have a question of my own. how many of you here tried getting into the Heroes course? Please, a show of hands. Several students raised their hands. Now what if I told you I can give you a chance to get in the Hero course? The whispers increased. A boy with purple spiky hair stood up. What do you mean by chance? Yoshiro looked at the boy and saw a bit of fire in his eyes. Young man, what is your name? My name is Hitoshi Shinso, sir. Well, Shinso, I just got done teaching a class in the Hero course. I can safely say I was a little disappointed and I wish to teach you and anyone else who is willing to try and get into the Hero course. If any of you wish to get into the Hero course, then come to Gym 4 after class today and I will turn you all into heroes that will put quite a few of the students in the Hero course to shame and give you an opportunity to replace them in the Hero course. Chapter 24: The Demon Punishment. Yes, grandfather, I found the perfect dish for tonight's dinner, said Hibiki walking through the halls of UA. Class has just ended and it was time for her to report her findings. We must eat it tonight, grandfather. Really, said her grandfather, understanding their code. Is the dish spicy? It's so spicy we're going to have to invite the whole family. The whole family? Are you sure? Yes, this recipe is quite big, said Hibiki. Understood, I'll have the family ready tonight. Did anything fun happen at school? He asked, being a bit more direct. Hibiki paused for a moment as she had no idea how much the teachers now suspected her. I met a new teacher named Yoshiro and his assistant Tomo. They have quite a story. One that you should read as soon as you can. Hibiki heard a keyboard typing on the other end of the phone. Her grandfather hummed as he looked at the screen. I will definitely read into this story. Make sure when we meet you have the full recipe for everyone and don't forget napkins for everyone. We don't want a mess. Yes, I'll bring plenty of napkins, she said as she hung up the phone. Hibiki thought for a moment. Napkins mean insurance. Let's see here. We need to make sure we got him, though I don't think I would be able to get those three. Hibiki looked out the window seeing Yae and Melissa with Yui and Ochako. But those three have friends and classmates. Hibiki's shadow began to move. Get me the Hornets. Ah, Izuku, perfect timing, said Yoshiro. Hello, sensei, said Izuku, bowing to his mentor. Is there something that you need? Yes, there is something that I could use your help with. Please walk with me for a moment. As they turned to begin walking into the building, Yoshiro over the years has had his sixth sense pushed quite a bit. So it wasn't hard of him to tell a student was currently watching him. Is there something you need, Mr. Masashiro? He said as he turned to said student. Ojiro looked a bit surprised, not expecting to be confronted. I have a question for you, Mr. Yoshiro, he said, walking up to the two. Yoshiro signaled him to continue. Izuku, Melissa, and Jack's quirks. You gave it to them. Didn't you? This question caused Yoshiro to raise his eyebrows and Izuku to look like he was about to lose it. You discovered a new type of quirk, one that is hidden. Izuku breathed a massive sigh of relief, while Yoshiro kept calm. Oh, what makes you say that? It's the only thing that makes sense. You mentioned that you discovered Izuku's quirk in his lungs, and according to Monoma, neither of them can feel the organ that their quirk gets their power from. The same most likely is the same with Jack, right? Yoshiro still looked like he was in shock. He was still somewhat paying attention to what Ojiro was saying, but something else caught his attention. So Izuku decided to continue the conversation. Look, Ojiro, it's a lot of medical stuff and I can't speak for Melissa or Jack, but Yoshiro helped me figure out what my quirk was. He showed me that there was more to me than even I knew. If that makes sense. Right, sensei? Sensei? Mr. Yoshiro? Yashiro now was focused solely on something else. The small bulge moving on Ojiro's neck. The bulge looked alive and was moving just beneath the skin. Though what made it truly alarming to Yashiro was the shape. It appeared to be the shape of a large hornet. That's impossible, me and Matazo got rid of those damn things years ago. Denki came running down the hall. Ah crap, I forgot my math book. Denki slowed down to move past the three. When he did, Yashiro noticed that Denki had one as well. A hornet right below the skin on his neck. Izuku, said Ochako along with Yui. They could see Melissa and Ye whispering behind them. Hey, sorry if we're interrupting something here, we were just wondering if you were walking home with us. Yashiro could see that both girls as well had hornets in their necks, though neither seemed to notice. That confirms that those are the same quirked hornets. It's been years and we made sure we eradicate all of them. Animals with quirks are rare, but insects having quirks are the rarest. You get more mammals and birds with quirks rather than insects, but insects have the rare trait of the hive having the same quirk rather than each one having a different one. The quirk these hornets have is skin deep. It gave the hive an ability to get under skin or bark without the host knowing at all they were there. These hornets were ruthless, killing almost an entire town of people before we were able to even get there. Another 100 died before we were able to kill them. Though no one seems to be alarmed, and no one is dead yet. The hornets are in their necks right now waiting. Someone is controlling them. This is a hostage situation. Yashiro-sensei, are you okay? Asked Melissa with concern, noticing that he was quieter than usual. Oh yes, I'm fine, he said with a straight face, but inwardly he was panicking. If I don't play this right, we could end up with a massacre. I'm sorry, my mind was elsewhere. What were we talking about? Ojiro stepped forward. I was just telling them I came and asked you and Izuku for advice about my quirk. Oh yes, that right, I'm sorry, but I need to borrow these two. We will talk to all later, said Yashiro as he turned and walked down the hall. Izuku and Ojiro said quick goodbyes to the girls before following Yashiro, who was now typing rapidly into his phone. Ojiro caught up to Yashiro. Did I say something wrong, sir? I just thought it would be best to cover for you guys since it seems you guys still don't want people to know about the hidden quirks. No, this has nothing to do with that. In fact, I thank you for keeping quiet about that, said Yashiro as he calmed himself. They are not in immediate danger. I must wait and pretend not to have noticed. Just continue on with business as usual. Though I could use your two help for a moment to test some waters. Test, said both Izuku and Ojiro, both clearly confused. They continued until they made their way to the teacher's office, where several teachers and the principal were waiting. Greetings, Yashiro. I know you need to be somewhere, so we will try and make this quick, said the principal looking at some papers. Oh, hello there, students, he said, noticing Izuku and Ojiro. What brings you here? Before either of them could answer, Yashiro spoke up. I asked them to come here to put your new project to the test. Nizu didn't respond but began to shuffle papers around on the desk. Izuku, you're going out on patrol tonight, correct? Izuku's eyes went wide. What do you mean? Yashiro paused for a moment by his reaction. Patrol, you know, the thing that you do each night. Wait, I can go on patrol? Wait, you haven't been going on patrol, said with shock. Why? I thought I wasn't allowed to because I was a student now, said Izuku, thinking this entire time he could have been out there. You telling me I could have gone out this entire time legally? Oh heavens no. It would still be illegal. I just thought you would still be doing it, said Yashiro, dashing the boy's hope. I didn't think you would be sticking to the rules after breaking them for so long. I even doubled UA's legal team for it. He doubled the legal team? Asked Vlad, getting a nod from Nizu. All Might saw the boy slightly depressed and remembered something. You know when I went to drop Eri off at Inko's. She did mention that Izuku was looking like a zombie, like he had nothing to do, even while he was reviewing his hero notes. All the teachers nodded, coming to the understanding that it's been a while since he had been able to perform any acts of hero/vigilantism, and that could get to some of them. Though Midnight did notice something the other teachers missed. "Oh, All Might, since when did you start calling Izuku's mom by her first name?" All Might's mind immediately went into panic mode. It doubled when Izuku met his eyes. "Oh, sorry, an old habit I picked up from my time in America. Crap, after Melissa moved next door to the Midoriyas, I've been visiting and talking to Inko. A lot. More than I want to admit to her son and to my colleagues. I hope they buy my excuse." To his luck, Izuku did believe, but the teachers didn't believe it for a second. In fact, Midnight got stars in her eyes as she gave All Might a look. "Don't look at me like that. She's going through a divorce. Though Izuku doesn't know about that yet, and I don't want to be the reason he finds out." "Well, none of that matters now," said Aizawa, trying to get this distraction over with. "Just because he doubled our legal team doesn't give him the right to go and continue as he was before." "Oh, I understand that. I was just surprised he hasn't done anything. I thought the boredom would get to him," said Yushiro. "Though for today both you and Ojiro are sidekicks to All Might." "Huh?" Ojiro raised his hand. "What a minute, I'm going to be All Might's sidekick today." Hoping what he was hearing was true. Battle alongside All Might would be a dream come true. "Hold it," said Vlad, stepping forward. "This wasn't part of your plan. Not to mention, don't you think you've made too many changes? Do you really think we would accept this?" Nizu began laughing. "Yashiro didn't come up with this. I did." "What?" "For years I've been wanting to do this. Now with All Might's here, I finally have a chance," as he raised two cards in the air. "Quirk licenses." "Quirk licenses," said the staff. "Yep, for years now I wanted the students to be able to use their quirks in public as a form of an early internship, since some students don't successfully get their hero license in their first year. So I came up with the idea that was shot down for years until now. With these licenses, the student will be able to use their quirks in public and can perform hero acts if they are accompanied by a teacher." Nizu handed them the cards. Ojiro saw that the one he was given had his name on it. "You made one for me?" "I understand making one for Izuku, but why me?" When they finally green-lit his idea, he got so excited he made cards for every student in the hero course, said Yushiro as Nizu began to laugh. "He asked me in my opinion who I think would be good for it. I pick you two for it." "Why did we allow you to be friends?" said Aizawa, feeling the headache already coming. Izuku got stars in his eyes while Ojiro looked confused. "Okay, but why me?" Yashiro eyed the boy for a moment. "Do you not want to go with them?" Ojiro then remembered his conversation with Yashiro early today during the chase test. "I want to prove to everyone I can be a hero even though my quirk is just a tail. I don't want to be the plain guy like I was all throughout middle school. No one thought I could get in with my quirk. Some of my old classmates used to joke that all my tail was good for was sweeping the floor. I want to prove them wrong. I want to be somebody." "Well, that's definitely something I can help you, but for now tell me more about you using your tail to sweep." "How does using my tail to kick up dirt help?" "More than you could imagine. I need to get stronger and I can't think of anything better than real-world experience," thought Ojiro, finding his resolve. "All right, I'll do it." Yashiro smiled at seeing one of his students wanting to push forward to even greater heights. "Master Yashiro," said Tomo, entering the room, getting his attention. "Everything is set up in the gym and I have brought the breathing mask like you asked." Perfect, said Yushiro as he handed the mask to Ojiro. Put this on. What is it? A mask that will train you to hone your breathing. It will help you in the long run. Just don't forget what we talked about early today regarding your tail. Okay, said Ojiro, a little hesitant but put the mask on anyway. Putting his trust in Yushiro. It's kind of hard to breathe. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. Now how about you two grab your things and meet All Might out by the front gate. Izuku didn't need to be told twice as he grabbed Ojiro and rushed out to the locker room. Now that they're gone, Tomo, is the room clean? This question confused the teachers, but Tomo confirmed that there were no bugs in the room. Good, he said calmly before he slammed his hands on the table. Letting the panic flow. We have a big fucking problem. 3 hours later, Yushiro and Tomo were walking out of the school gate. Those kids from the General Studies course were really driven today, said Tomo, impressed with what she saw. Yes, let's hope they can keep that drive until the sports festival, said Yushiro as they made their way to a car that was parked outside of the school with a man in a suit waiting for them. The man was fairly tall with a slim build and with semi-dark blue hair. Hello Mr. Blue, is everything ready? Yes sir, said as he opened the door for the two. The other agents are picking up the others and heading to the warehouse. Excellent, then let's head over immediately. As they entered the vehicle. Not so far away on a rooftop, several shadowy figures were watching them. This is sound one. The target is on the move. I repeat, the target is on the move. Understood, said the head of the Yuzui clan, Hibiki's grandfather. Follow them and don't let them out of your sight. He along with several other members of the clan were wearing their ninja gear, ready to move. He turned to see Hibiki entering. Hibiki, good you're here. Are the hornets in place? Please tell me they're under control. Yes grandfather, and don't worry, I have the hornet queen right here, she said, pointing to a giant hornet hovering around her. I have Wayne on standby just to make sure the hornet stays under control. Which one's Wayne again? Asked one of her cousins who was currently on a computer overlooking a flood of info. Hibiki couldn't tell which cousin it was since most of them have already put their masks on. Wayne's my fruit bat, the one that can echo my signals just in case I need to go all out. So don't worry, the hornets won't get out of hand, she explained. By the way, did you find anything about my new teacher and his assistant? A picture of Yushiro was put on the screen. This guy is one hell of a genius for covering his tracks. I could barely find anything about him. The most I found were pictures that were nearly 200 years old. If you hadn't told me his quirk kept him young, I was going to call him a vampire. Their grandfather took a good long look at Yushiro. So he is the one that knows our family's teachings? Hibiki nodded. He admitted to teaching Demon Slayer and he even reacted a little bit to our name. Hi's quirk also makes him fit into the timeline. He would be around when our family refounded its roots. There is a chance back then he could have run into one of our ancestors that didn't keep their mouths shut. That could have been a possibility, said another cousin on a different computer. The pictures we found had him with a lot of big names. Some who worked with our ancestors back in the day. That said, there is a high chance they made contact. Attention, said the elder. We have our target and we must take him alive and see what he knows. He has knowledge about our family and we must know who he has told this information to. Our family is on the line here, so we cannot fail. Hibiki. Yes, grandfather. If he does know about our family and has taught it to others, we must get rid of Demon Slayer before he spreads it. Be ready to redirect your bugs. Hibiki smiled. Yes, grandfather. All right, people, let's shift and meet up with the others that are trailing the car. When we see a chance, we will strike. Yes, sir, they all said as they formed a circle and linked arms. One of the ninjas' hands began glowing. As the glow began to spread to the other, their appearances began to shift. All their hair turned dark black, and soon all the males had the exact same appearance, and so did the females. If you saw them all in the streets, you would assume they were all twins. The elder, who now looked like a man in his mid-20s, pulled his mask over his mouth and nose. Now no one will know who we are, and we must keep it that way. For the family. For the family. Yashiro could tell that Mr. Blue was tensing up. Don't turn, the warehouse is straight ahead. Mr. Blue looked at Yashiro through the mirror. Mr. Yashiro, we are being followed. Yes, I'm aware. Ninjas are following us. Ninjas? Ninjas, Tomo. I count at least 10 of them, sir. Would you like me to take care of them? She said. Yashiro could see pure rage in her eyes. Tomo was not happy that someone put killer insects in their throats. She was ready to fight now. No, Tomo, trust me, the best course of action will be to stay calm. When they make a move, we will counter them. Until then, let's play with our other toy, said Yashiro as the car stopped at a warehouse with several people waiting outside. Which included Endeavor and his family, along with his sidekick Burnin. Yashiro stepped out. Welcome, thank you all for coming. Before Endeavor could even say a word, his sidekick decided to speak. We're here, so can you stop the stalkers? She then pointed at a woman in a suit standing at the edge of the crowd. Ms. Red here somehow keeps getting into my apartment. I even changed the locks and got a security system, but she keeps getting in. In my defense, it is a part of our jobs to keep track of you, said Ms. Red. It's creepy. You guys were the ones who broke the law, remember, said Mr. Red. Endeavor was now steaming a little bit more than usual. Can we just get this over with? Just tell us what our punishments are so I can take my family home. Yashiro gave him his best smile. Oh, now Endeavor, what's the rush? At least introduce me to your family. How have you been, Shoto? I've been fine, sensei. This confused Fuyumi and Natsu, still not sure who the kid was talking to their brother, but Endeavor knew more and didn't like what he was hearing. Sensei, see that Endeavor. Yes, said Yashiro, still smiling. I'm Yue's newest teacher and Shoto here is my student. Endeavor looked as if he was about to pop. Natsu had to know what's going on. Shoto. Who's this? My teacher. Yashiro-sensei, his quirk keeps him young. He's actually older than all of us, and it seems he's the one that Endeavor pissed off. Oh, thank you for taking care of our brother, said Fuyumi politely. As she bowed. Though I got to ask, what did our father do to you? He broke into my home, which is a government black site, while I was in the middle of performing life-altering surgery on a little girl. By the end of it, he had disobeyed government orders and threatened my assistant Tomo. The Todoroki kids' eyes went wide in disbelief as they looked at their father, who couldn't meet their eyes. With all that said, he's lucky he isn't rotting away somewhere. Though I am getting punished, right? That's why we're here, right? Said Endeavor. So out with it. If I heard correctly, the others have to help out at some school, right? Or am I doing bodyguard work like Ryukyu? Yashiro's smile just grew as he saw two people exit the warehouse. Ms. Blue, is everything ready? Yes, sir, said Ms. Blue, a woman in a suit with blue hair. Everything is ready inside. I must thank you, said a very pudgy man in a colorful suit. I never would have imagined that Endeavor and his sidekicks would volunteer to help us. Endeavor and Burnin gave him a skeptical look. Help you with what? Yashiro began to step forward. How about we go inside? Things should become much clearer. They all stepped inside the warehouse and things didn't become clear at all. The warehouse was filled with all sorts of costumes, props, and other knickknacks that looked somewhat familiar. In the back of their minds they recognized some of the things they could see in the warehouse. Back from their childhoods. "What is this?" asked Vernon, staring at a space pink uniform. "This is one of the storehouses for the Samurai Festival," said the pudgy man. "What? Oh, sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I'm the director of the next Samurai Festival, you know, the one for the kids based on the shows of the Cyber Samurais, and on behalf of the entire company I thank you for volunteering for the next festival," said the director, grinning from ear to ear. Still having no idea that they were being forced to do this. None of them knew how to process this. They couldn't really get it. They all slowly turned to Yoshiro and Tomo. "What is this?" said Endeavor. "You're asking us to be security for the festival, right?" said Vernon, not liking where this was going. The director looked confused. "Security? I thought you two were going to be actors in one of the acts." The Todoroki kids just stared at their father, not believing what they were hearing. "No," said Endeavor firmly. "No, absolutely not. Anything but this. I am not humiliating myself in front of a crowd." "Yeah, what he said," said Vernon. "I ain't squeezing myself into one of those costumes." The smile never left Yoshiro's face. "I thought you might say that, so I have set up an alternative," he said, pointing to a garage door leading to the other end of the warehouse. "Mr. Green, Ms. Green. If you'd please." The door then began to open. At first no one could see anything but two people who they assumed were Mr. Green and Ms. Green, standing in front of something white. It took them all a moment to figure out that it was a giant stack of paper. That was easily the size of a large house. Everyone was silent for a moment, wondering what they were looking at. "I feel like a broken record here, but what am I looking at here?" repeated Vernon. "My legal papers," said Yoshiro, getting the what look from everyone. "Because of my quirk, the government allows me to file all my paperwork for the decade all at once. To be honest, it takes me about a month to get it all done, though I don't need to eat or sleep. So it should take you guys about 5 months, maybe a bit more. Now there's all the paperwork for Demon Slayer in there. Which during the time you can't do any hero work at all. Nothing but the paperwork." Endeavor and Vernon stood there stunned, as they were pretty much told which hell they needed to pick from. Fuyumi and Shoto stood there still in shock, wondering what Endeavor was going to do, while Natsu was grinning from ear to ear. They could tell that a night of humiliation was better than 6 months of paperwork hell. Vernon stared at the paperwork and then back to the warehouse. "So can I pick which color samurai I am, or am I stuck with the pink one?" Endeavor began to grind his teeth. "For a day I will play for those stupid kids," he said through his teeth. Actually, we received an anonymous donation. Now we have the funding to keep the festival going for a whole week in honor for the 100 years of Cyber Samurai. We even are digging up prop to include Power Rangers and the Super Sentai. So it won't be for a day this year," said the director, a little nervous now. Natsu had to slap his mouth shut to stop him from laughing. Fuyumi's jaw dropped, Shoto just turned stone-faced. Vernon began to shake at the horror for doing this for a whole week. "Donation," said Endeavor as he turned to Yoshiro, remembering the amount of cash the man could throw around. "You brat, why? Why do you wish to humiliate me?" Yoshiro dropped his smile. "One, I'm older than you, brat. You know, I think you will make an excellent Lord Zed. You're both red." This remark got Endeavor so angry his flames were turning blue. Blue, maybe a color swap of ooze. It was hard to tell, but it was clear that Endeavor was getting angrier. "Oh come now, your wife will enjoy it." This caused all of the Todorokis to freeze. Endeavor felt a chill roll up his spine as his flames died down. My wife? My wife is currently ill and she doesn't look like she will recover anytime soon. Oh, Endeavor, have you forgotten who I am? Said Yushiro. I am one of the best doctors in the world. Whatever is ailing your wife I can fix. If it's medical or mental. I know people who can fix both if I can't. Why would you? Shoto is my student, that alone is enough reason for me to help. I mean, I'm not the yellow octopus, but I will do everything in my ability to make sure my students are okay. I don't take kindly to people hurting or torturing them physically or mentally. At this, both Yushiro and Endeavor gave each other a stare down. You've done a lot for a lot of people, Endeavor, so I know throwing you and locking away the keys would not do anyone any good, but don't think for a second that I will allow you to do anything like what you did, Shoto, again. Don't think for a second I will hesitate to take your license, agency, and freedom away if I hear you hurting your family again. As Yushiro was talking, Endeavor got angrier and angrier. His rage was boiling. Hurting them. I'm trying to make Shoto realize his destiny. Don't tell me what I can do with my family, he thought, but didn't vocalize, knowing that it would only backfire on him. Endeavor knew he could stand here for much longer, as he was about to blow a gasket, which would end up lighting Yushiro on fire, which in the end wouldn't do anything to him. Endeavor turned and stomped out of the warehouse. Vernon followed him. I expect great performances from both of you, called Yushiro. This stopped them both so they could glare at him. Also to remind you too, if you fail your punishment, you will have your hero licenses revoked. They both wanted to say something but knew that they couldn't and continued to stomp out. The director tried to call out to them. I'll email you the acts and roles that are still open. Please get back to us. Don't worry, we will make sure they get them, said Mr. Red. I love these guys, said Natsu, enjoying this and planning to buy a very expensive new camera for the festival. Hey, remind me again, when's the Samurai Festival? Natsu. Fuyumi thought her brother was enjoying this too much. Oh, it's at the beginning of fall, said the director. Tomo then handed the Todorko's festival passes. The festival will begin right after UA's summer break, so once the students come back from the camping trip. Thanks, said Natsu as he stored the ticket and began to make plans for the summer. You didn't have to do this, said Shoto. I didn't ask you. Shut up, said Yushiro. He has pissed me off and I needed to give him a punishment, and humiliating him might do him some good. May make him see some form of light. If anything, discovering what he did to you only added fuel to the fire and gave me few ideas on how to make it a little worse for him. You got that angry because he accidentally broke into your home? Oh no, he threatened Tomo. That's more than enough for me to humiliate him. Knowing he caused one of my students pain, well, that just means I need to be a bit more creative. Something large enough that will haunt him for the rest of his life. Mr. Yushiro, said Fuyumi, a little nervous. Are you really going to help our mother? Of course I will. I'm a doctor and I would be more than happy to help, said Yushiro. Not to mention it will really piss Endeavor off. Hell yeah. This made Natsu a little curious. What would you do if he hurt one of your students or your assistant girl? Yushiro thought for a moment as many torture ideas popped into his head. Several that would leave Endeavor maimed and disabled. I may have a few ideas, though I would need to bribe a lot of people. Oh. Shortly after the Todorokis left, Yushiro convinced the director that he could lock the warehouse up. Tomo? The ninjas are still watching us. None of them have moved though. How about everyone else? The teachers are in position. Izuku and All Might? They can be here in 10 minutes. Let's do this, he said as he walked in the open. Yoshiro closed his eyes and took a deep breath, mentally preparing for the fight ahead. When he opened his eyes, they were surrounded by ninjas, none of them having any unique features as all of them looked the same. The only differences were some were female and not male. I don't suppose I can convince you on how much of a stupid idea you have and you can just go away. You, said the ninja in the front, sounding a lot older than his appearance. You're coming with us. Yoshiro's expression turned to anger. Are you the ones that put hornets into my students' necks? If you want them to live, you will come with us. I have a better idea. We kick your ass and I force you to leave my students after I wipe the floor with your carcass. Before the ninja could reply, Tomo brings in the cavalry. Soon the group of ninjas were surrounded by the teachers of UA. Minus All Might. Tomo put each of them at the best positions possible, with some of them on the rooftops. It looks like it's our time for our daily exercise, said Present Mike. Snipe pointed his gun at the ninjas. Good, all the desk work was making my trigger finger itch. Time to teach some naughty ninjas some lessons, said Midnight, cracking her whip. Enough talk, said Eraserhead. Time to fight. Oh. 3 hours ago. Are you two ready? Asked All Might back in his hero suit. Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this, said Demon Slayer. I'll try my best not to slow you down, said Ojiro, ready to improve. Chapter 25, Keeping Up with the Pros. Ojiro could safely say that this was the biggest workout of his life. They were running right of the gate. UA's gates, to be more specific. Though it was clear that both Izuku and All Might were taking it a little slow, it wasn't too long for them to find some crime. Ojiro was clearly the one that was out of his depth here, but he was absolutely determined to not slow the others down. Oh. Quickly, there's a bank robbery in progress, sighed All Might, jumping down from the roof. Both Ojiro and Demon Slayer followed. All Might landed in the center of the bank. Halt, villains, and surrender now. OHSHIT, it's All Might, said one of the robbers. Then out of nowhere came a flash of lightning, taking out another robber. Demon Slayer here too. Relax, there's 7 of us and only 2 of them. Count again, villain, said All Might as Ojiro jumped through the window, hitting 2 of them with his tail. Another one. If he's with them, then he must be tough. We better surrender. No way. I ain't going down without a fight, said the man as he turned into a semi-raptor hybrid, with raptor claws and a dino tail. He charged at Ojiro. I'm going to take this one with me. All Might's instincts told him to jump in, but he stopped as he remembered Gran Torino's words. Hey brat. When you go out there, for every villain you take down, those 2 better take down 3, you hear? I don't want you jumping in unless absolutely necessary. They have to learn themselves. Ojiro ducked under the dino slashes, even though it was little difficult with the mask mess with his breathing, and countered with an uppercut, followed by using his tail to sweep the legs, knocking the raptor man on his back. Way to go, Ojiro, said Izuku before getting punched in the face. Izuku quickly regained his balance as he saw one of the robbers had a blinking quirk. He saw the man about to blink at him again. Breath of mist, obscuring clouds, as Izuku created a cloud of mist around him, obscuring the robber's view, making him crash into the wall behind Izuku. Izuku gave the guy one more kick to the head for good measure. Get him, said one of the last 3 still standing as he and another charged, but Izuku was quicker. Breath of flowers, whirling peach, as Izuku became a spiral of petals, knocking both of them out. The last robber got scared and tried to run, but ended up running right into All Might's fist, knocking himself out in the process. Good work, you two, let's keep moving, he said, but some of the other heroes on the scene had some questions about his students. One purse snatcher had a really bad day today. First, he tries to steal the purse of a retired pro hero. Second, his motorcycle breaks down while trying to flee, and third, the car he hijacks to get away has a baby in the back seat. Now the cherry on the ass cake was that the heroes on his ass right now were the number one hero, All Might and the vigilante demon slayer. How the hell can this shitshow get any worse? He yelled while the baby in the back just giggled. At least you're having fun. There's a baby, yelled Izuku, who was now on the roof of the stolen car, looking through the windshield. Yeah, you can take it, said the purse snatcher as he quirked long arms to reach into the back for the baby. He then held out the baby for Izuku. Here, take the kid. Izuku was honestly surprised by this. He'd expect the guy to use the child as a hostage. Though Izuku quickly grabbed the kid as it was now the priority. Thanks. Just for the record, I ain't a kidnapper. Izuku simply nodded at the guy before jumping off the vehicle. For a moment the snatcher sighed a breath of relief before suddenly he and the vehicle lurched forward. He looked back to see All Might was now holding the car above the ground. Snatcher then scrambled as best he could to exit the vehicle. He landed on the ground with a thud, before staggering to his feet. Oh, come on, this wasn't supposed to happen like this. I'm just a bit of a klepto, can't you just let this side? No, but you do have my pity, he said as he put the car down. I can tell you aren't trying to hurt anyone. You even gave the infant back. Cute kid, I didn't even know he was in the car when I took it. I just kind of panicked. I'm not the best under pressure. Clearly. Now how about you come with me? Yeah, hey, what's that? He said, pointing to the roof. All Might didn't even look away, but the snatcher still tried to run. Though he was caught off by Ojiro. Long arms, he yelled as he tried to hit Ojiro with his arms. Ojiro was having a hard time moving with the breathing mask on his face, but he would have to be under some sort of drug to get hit by those arms. Ojiro dodged them, but instead of doing some sort of aerial kick, he just landed in front of the guy and slightly pushed him down. Dude, just stop, he said between breaths. Afterwards the police came and grabbed the snatcher, while Izuku gave the baby back to his mother. Though what surprised both of them that the baby wasn't crying at all, in fact it just seemed to really enjoy the ride. Izuku came back to see All Might saying goodbye to the reporters, which gave him a chance to check in on Ojiro. Hey, you alright? This thing is making it really hard to breathe. Is this really supposed to help me? Oh, absolutely, said Izuku with confidence, which somewhat surprised Ojiro. Have you done this before? Yep. You just need to match your breathing with the mask. Ojiro then remembered what Izuku's quirk was. What did he make this for you? No, he said some woman in Italy made it for her son, so he could practice his quirk. Wait, does he have a quirk like yours? If so, then how is things supposed to help me? He said, pointing to the mask. Alright boys, time to go, said All Might. Both of them turned to see a horde of reporters chasing him. Let's get out of here. How dare you get my daughter pregnant, said a robotic dad chasing a young man with leaves for hair. I'm going to gut you alive, you little bastard. I'm sorry, he screamed with tears in his eyes. As they continued their chase through the streets, causing several accidents along the way. The robot dad was crashing into everything in his way, while the leaf dude was causing shrubs to appear all along the road, blinding drivers as it hit the cars and causing them to swerve out of the way. Wayo, hold it, said Demon Slayer as he grabbed the young man and tried to separate the two as All Might stopped the robot man. Out of the way, All Might, this brat knocked up my daughter, said the robot dad, still very angry. Okay, I hear you, so how about we all calm down here, said All Might as he tried to defuse the situation. If you can't tell, you two caused quite a bit of a mess. Ojiro tried to catch up to the two, but he wasn't getting this breathing mask thing at all. He was feeling lightheaded and was about to take the mask off. He did see that Izuku and All Might were handling the situation. I guess now would be a good time to try Izuku's advice and match my breathing to the masks. It was this maniac, said Leaf Dude. He's the one starting this. None of this would have happened if he didn't flip out. Flip out, said Robot Dad. You ruined her life, you son of a bitch. Both of you stop, yelled Izuku. You both probably have a lot of things to talk about, but you also have all the problems you just caused. Just look. Izuku pointed down the road. You've caused a lot of damage already, so how about you all calm down before you make things worse? The Leaf Dude began to feel a little guilty. I guess you're right, but I can't say the same about him. Excuse me, said the Robot Dad before getting looks from the heroes. He growled a bit before trying to calm down, but he needed to hit something. He then kicked a bench, sending it flying right at Ojiro. Ojiro, yelled the heroes. Though the boy didn't hear them as he was concentrating on his breathing. Ojiro was taking deep breaths. Deep breaths seemed to work well with the mask. I just need to breathe in. Ojiro. Ha! Ojiro then opened his eyes to see the bench flying right at him. It was too late to dodge, and without really thinking, Ojiro exhaled and punched the bench. To his and everyone's surprise, the bench broke into pieces. Though Ojiro would have to admit his fist did hurt, he was more surprised by the fact he broke a bench with his bare hands, not even with his tail. What the? Oh shit, sorry kid, you alright? Asked Robot Dad. See, he's a maniac, arrest him, said Leaf Dude, who was still hiding behind Demon Slayer. I'm going to throttle you, said Robot Dad, now having to be restrained by All Might. Enough, yelled an android-looking girl running down the street. Stop it, both of you. She was quickly able to calm things down somewhat. Long enough for the police to arrive and make sure things don't get out of hand again. How did I do that? Said Ojiro as he inspected his hand. It was damaged by the punch, but it was broken or sprained, though that's not what Ojiro was shocked about. He was still wondering where that strength came from. He took off the mask and examined it. He was able to concentrate his breathing. It may have been for a moment, but Ojiro was able to do it, thought Izuku as he brought a beverage from a vending machine. They were taking a brief break and they found a vending machine by a park with some benches to rest. Sensei said that there were people like me who had a talent for the breaths. Could Ojiro be one as well? What other reason was he given the mask for? Sensei did say that it does cut some of the time down getting the breathing right. It could also have something to do with his quirk. His lungs might be deformed to help with the fact he has a powerful tail. If that's the case, then the question is, how much has it changed? Hey, how's your fist? Asked All Might, handing Ojiro a bottle of water. It's doing fine. I'm more concerned with the amount of power I was able to put into that punch. I mean, where did it come from? Most likely your lungs, said Izuku while drinking some tea. It also explains why Sensei gave you the mask. He probably thought this would happen. He did? Indeed he did, said All Might. Right before we left UA, I asked Yushiro what the purpose of the mask was. He said that it should bring out more power from your lungs. He said that your tail is able to hold so much power that some of your organs must have changed to accommodate your tail. Ojiro turned to Izuku. Wait, so I have a quirk similar to yours? Izuku thought for a moment, or at least pretended to, as it was time to lie again. He didn't like to lie. Hey Sensei, I got a question. How do Demon Slayer powers work exactly? It ain't supposed to be a quirk yet. I can do all this superhuman stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. Yushiro was silent for a moment before he let out a massive sigh. He then went and grabbed the big whiteboard. You ready for the biggest lecture of your life? If not, I'm alright with just saying it's magic and leaving it at that for a while. This is going to take the rest of the day and maybe even part of tomorrow to explain this. It was the biggest lecture of Izuku's life. These powers are simple but stupidly complicated. He can't say it's magic, which would be simpler than the truth, so he came up with a lie that would make sense for today's standards. Weird quirk. My quirk doesn't exactly work like that. In my lungs are a series of valves that controls how much oxygen gets to my brain. Depending on that and blood flow, I can physically pull elements towards me. Izuku took a breath as he waved around his hand and gathered the water in the air around his hand. Technically, my quirk is more psychic-based, rather than just my lungs. In a way, it's kind of like your mother's quirk, right? She can pull objects towards her. Pointed out All Might, though in reality he was doing his part in covering for Izuku. Yeah, and the element part comes from my dad, who could breathe fire, said Izuku as he realized that he still hasn't seen his dad in years. He doesn't even know where his dad is right now. Izuku then noticed the concern on his friends' faces. Oh, sorry, I kind of got lost there, said Izuku as he got up to toss his bottle away. Ojiro watched Izuku walk away for a moment. Now Ojiro wasn't much of a gossip, but he couldn't deny a part of him was curious. Hey All Might, he said in a whisper, getting the hero's attention. So what's with you and Izuku's mom? All Might's eyes practically jumped out of his skull. He quickly slapped his own mouth shut before looking to see Izuku still lost in thought. Whatever do you mean, young Ojiro? Well, you know her quirk and you have been talking to her, not to mention your reaction just now. Shushed All Might. Getting a little too close for comfort. While this close, All Might could see the bump on Ojiro's neck. Look, just don't say anything, please. We need to get those hornets out quick. I need to focus on that now, my love life later. Don't worry, I won't, said Ojiro, wondering how Izuku was picking up on this. All Might is clearly not the best hiding thing like this. Did I miss something? Asked Izuku. Me and All Might were just talking about techniques. Since I now can do more, I might need to think of new techniques for my arsenal, said Ojiro. Man, I'm covering for a lot of people today. I hope this doesn't become a habit. Oh, I have several ideas for that, said Izuku as he took out his phone and opened Ojiro's file. After seeing you in the quirk assessment test, I came up with a few fighting styles that may work well with your tail. I think capoeira might help, along with kickboxing style that's heavy on ground kicks, maybe even some pancration. Both All Might and Ojiro sat stunned as Izuku began listing different fighting styles and how his tail may be used in them. The amount of detail was kind of scary. To top it off, Ojiro has only known Izuku for a week. Thanks, said Ojiro, trying to slow Izuku down. How in the world did you come up with all of this? Oh, it's a bit of a habit I've had since I was little, said Izuku, slightly embarrassed. I actually have notes on everyone in class. I'm still working on the guys in Class B. Though I have successfully digitized all my notes on everyone in Class A. Izuku then realized that both of them were stunned. I've been bored and I've had a lot of time on my hands. Well, any of that advice sounds good, asked All Might. Well, all of it, said Ojiro, who despite being shocked was quite interested in what Izuku had said, though he still had to figure out Yashiro's advice. Izuku, you've known a while, right? Yeah, why? I don't understand his advice he gave me early today. I made a small comment about how some kids back in the day would say the only good use for my tail would be sweeping the floor. I don't understand his advice he gave me early today. I made a small comment about how some kids back in the day would say the only good use for my tail would be sweeping the floor. That's horrible, said All Might. Izuku nodded in agreement. Bullying is never okay. Thanks, but when I told him I used to use my tail to pick up dirt, or when I was young I used to play in the sandbox, he was suddenly very interested. He told me that those are the roots I should seek. The ones that move the earth. Both Izuku and All Might gave him a tired expression. All Might sighed. What's with old mentors and cryptic advice? I don't know, sighed Izuku. Look Ojiro, I don't completely understand the advice either, but it will help you. Some way, somehow that advice will help you. It could be as simple as hitting a rock with your tail or an old habit you used to do. Hold it, Izuku, said All Might. You might be onto something there. Maybe something you used to do back when you were a child. It might help you to be a better hero. I know it might sound crazy, but Yashiro has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, so something crazy might be the key to becoming a better hero. Ojiro thought over all the information. I used to play with my tail a lot more, and hitting rocks with it helped me in the ball throwing test. Maybe something I used to do in my childhood would help. Not to mention Earth keeps getting repeated. Well, I'm not going to figure anything out just sitting here. Let's keep going, he said as he put the mask back on. Atta boy, let's go, said All Might. The Bakugos had just finished a nice meal after Katsuki got down with his extra training that he does every night. Currently Katsuki's mother, Mitsuki Bakugo, was cleaning up after dinner. Katsuki, don't forget to do your laundry. I don't want your room smelling like a barn house. I'll get to you, hag, mind your own damn business. This is my house, so it is my damn business, brat. Now how about we calm down before we start an all-out shouting match? Said Masaru, hoping to keep his family from fighting. Again. Come on. How about we watch some TV? It's been a while since we all watched a show together. In a way, am I sitting through another one of the hag's rom-coms, said Katsuki as he was about to head upstairs to his room. Oh come on, he was about to try and reason with his son when he turned on the TV which showed the news. Katsuki, I think your classmates are on the news. Katsuki stopped at that. He went back downstairs to see. So did they finally let Deku out? Katsuki froze at the screen. He expected Deku. All Might wasn't a surprise, but the last one, as it showed, said student fighting some robbers. What the fuck is that extra doing there? Don't shout at the TV, yelled his mother. Oh. Why is Tail there, yelled Yae as she was kneeling right in front of the TV. Melissa, how could he do this to us? How could he leave us behind like this? Shouldn't we be talking about Melissa's uncle, who we now know as All Might, said Yui, trying to get the conversation back to the big topic. To me that's much bigger news. That's old news, said Yae. Anyone who has seen both of them and knows they are related to Melissa can figure it out. Izuku ditched us for Tail. Yae, I think you're overreacting, said Melissa. I was under house arrest when you went on patrol with Izuku without me. You went on patrol with Izuku? Asked Yui. Once, said Melissa, getting flustered. It was one time before school started, and it was only for like an hour. Don't lie, you got to do something fun, said Yae. Come on, I can't be the only one getting a little envious here. Ochako, don't you think it would be great to go on patrol with Izuku? Me and Izuku, said Ochako, blushing. Alone on patrol, together. She then began to imagine them as a superhero couple. Yui took a sip of her tea. Are these two even trying to hide their feelings? These two clearly have a thing for Izuku. I'm missing a good hunt, said Yae, getting annoyed. I can't tell if she's angry for not hanging out with Izuku or she just wants to shoot something. Yae then made some knives and began throwing them at a target on the wall. Probably both, thought Yui. An armored car was just robbed and the police are chasing the vehicle down dash. Bang bang. Shut up, said the now driver of the armored car as he shot the radio. Jesus man, what the fuck? Don't shoot your gun in the car, said his passenger. Well, instead of complaining, how about you start shooting the cops that are on our ass? Come on, how hard does it take to get rid of them? Hurry up and do your job. The guys in the back were currently firing at the cops chasing them. Hey, we're trying here, there's a lot of these pigs here. They were about to argue, but one of the guys in the back began to yell. I'm fully charged. The man got up and shot Ray's out of his hands. Stop, Ray. The ray hit the cop cars, stopping them right in their place. There we go. If you tell me you could have done that at any time, I will shove my gun so far up your dash. What? No. It takes at least 20 minutes to build it up, and before you say any bullshit. Why do you think the first set of cops didn't chase us? That makes sense, admitted the other guy in the back. Yes, we are home free, said the driver, not paying attention to the road. Though as he said that, the guy in the passenger seat paled. He should have saved it. The driver looked down the road to see Demon Slayer on the road in front of them. Shit. Breath of water, water surface slash, as Izuku used a water slash to cut all the tires in one cut. The car hit the ground and skid past Demon Slayer until it lost its momentum. Come out and surrender with your hands up. Okay, said one of the guys coming out from the back. You see, my hands are up, as he activated his quirk launch. Demon Slayer could feel something wrong as he was forced upward into the air. Have a nice flight. Demon Slayer gritted his teeth as he used his cloud walk to adjust himself in the air. It won't be that easy. Breath of lightning. As he dashed down to the ground at the guy who launched him. The man then launched himself out of the way, but his accomplice with the stop quirk wasn't so lucky as he kicked in the face. 1 down, 3 to go. He then noticed the driver trying to flee. Time to try out one of his own moves. Breath of wind, blunt breeze. This technique was like a regular air slash, but it was blunt, so it would cut if it hit something. The blunt breeze hit the man and caused him to slam face first into a light pole. Okay, now where did Izuku then saw a car get launched at him. With one quick slash he was able to cut the vehicle in two. My car, said a pedestrian. Oh sorry, yelled Izuku back at the man as he dodged another car. Time to end this. Breath of flame, spark fire. Demon Slayer sent a small wave of fire at the guy to try and scare him. It worked as he launched himself away from the fire. Izuku used this and intercepted him, knocking his lights out. Alright, that's 3. Wait, where's the last one? The passenger of the car grabbed a sack of cash and tried to make a clean getaway. He thought he was in the clear until he was hit by a tail. Hold it, said Ojiro. The guy got up. Alright kid, you got a death wish. I will fulfill that wish, he said as he took his gloves and jacket off, revealing that his arms had turbines on them. He got into a boxing stance. Ojiro was almost jabbed in the head by a fast strike, he then backpedaled as another punch came his way. He's fast, as he dodged another quick jab. Those turbines on his arms allow him to throw quick jabs and hard punches. They may not be good or proper punches, but they're fast enough to make sure that there are no openings. Unless... Ojiro took a deep breath and stomped the ground right between him and the robber. The ground cracked enough to loosen the ground under the robber, giving the opening that Ojiro needed. Ojiro gave him a quick kick to the gut, causing him to keel over, holding his stomach. That's enough, surrender. The robber slowly raised his hands before slowly putting them on the ground. Okay, you got dash. The robber then quickly grabbed and tossed a rock at Ojiro's face. For a moment Ojiro was blinded by the rock. He then saw the robber running for it. Ojiro saw that he left the money and thought he should give it back. With a proper slap of his tail, the bag was sent flying at the turbine man, hitting him hard. A sack full of bills would hurt anybody, though it wouldn't take them out for good. The robber was going to try and run again until he saw All Might standing above him. Fuck. Soon all 4 robbers were being put into a police truck. "Nice work, you two," said All Might. "You were able to take them out in a matter of minutes." "Ojiro, good work handling that last guy." "And Izuku? My baby," cried a man hugging one half of his car. "How could you do this? Would you cut someone else's baby in half?" "I'm sorry," said Izuku, trying to apologize to the man. While Izuku was doing that, Ojiro thought now would be a good time to check his phone. When he did, he was bombarded with messages from his family and classmates. Ojiro decided to play one of the voicemails from his mother. "Ojiro, what's going? Since when were you able to go out with All Might? Are you okay? You better have a good explanation for this, young man. This better be legal. I am not ready for you to get arrested. I don't even think I'm ready for you to be a hero yet." There were more, but Ojiro got the message. He also sent a message as well. "Ojiro, don't worry, just focus on what you're doing. You can explain when you get home. Just please stay safe. Also, your cousin keeps asking me if you can get an autograph from All Might." Even some of his distant relatives had sent him messages to get an autograph from the other heroes. Though what caught him off guard was the time. "We've only been at this for 3 hours. It's felt like 12. You'd be surprised with how time moves when you're doing hero work," said All Might as he checked his phone as it vibrated. He quickly glossed over the message. "It's time. Izuku, Ojiro. We need to move now. Time to handle those hornets."